Mm. Hello, sister. I don't know how many people are hanging out today. It might be just you and me. There might be a couple of others. If they show up, cool. If not, then I have something already written out. It's what I've been writing for the past 2 hours. So I've just been kind of trying to prerequisite myself, whatever you would say it, just so I know what I'm
Yes.
saying. And last time we got off track that we didn't even get any messages out that we wanted to really. I got to read the gene key, but I wanted so much more of the divine to come through. So today it's just going to be geared towards the specific message and a couple of the gene keys, but it's mostly we're going to bring everything out to expose things. You know, we need to expose
Yes.
what's happening, and true unity needs to start beginning because I'm just sick
Absolutely.
of playing around. And just
Well, this is one way that the masculine will not derail us. So that's one good thing. I've been getting a lot of like energy still, like the masculine trying to derail, the masculine trying to derail. I had a fucking semi trucker honk at me today. I'm just like, I allowed myself to throw chaos at him for the first time in my life.
oh, that's hilarious. You know, it's not even just it's the resistance of humans in general, their indifference and the egos fighting. It's not necessarily whether it's feminine or masculine. We all have that masculine in us. That's
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
it's
I've
not
had it come through
wanting to
women.
let the crown open up and, you know, for the goddess to put on her crown. They're trying
Yes.
to hold on to their power, and it's a matter of letting go. All of us, whether, you know, you're a man or a woman, we have to let that energy go. And that's what
Totally.
we're here to talk about today, is how the indifference of the collective is just beginning to really make a huge wrench in this process of unification and orientation into, you know, ourselves.
Right. Because I saw it come through Nikki, for example.
Yeah, exactly. You want to kind of explain that just so that it's on the video, because no one's going to kind of know what that experience was.
Oh, right, right, of course. So I have this friend, and of course, nothing we say here is personal. It's not about personally attacking her. I love her soul. You know, it's just that there's been a lot of the masculine energies trying to attack the message of the feminine coming through. And what I experienced is this masculine entity who channeled from another man. I don't even know how he knew who she was or that she lived near me, because she lives around the corner from me. And he contacted her and sent her over to my house. I happened to be having a breakthrough conversation with my family, who's very different than me, is all very Christian, and, bless them for what they do not understand. But it's been very difficult for me to break through and standing in my true power with them. And that's something Trinity has been holding space for me with, and her partner Malachi have both been like encouraging me in that, and I'm thankful to them for that. But earlier that day, Nikki has her own long history of things, and like she's been through a lot. So again, I don't wish to attack her personally, but her issues were coming, like we're basically attacking Malachi and trying to call him out on some stuff that she did not understand. She was in ignorance about. And
a lot of distortion of what people think is truth and what's actually divine truth and frequency.
Right.
Me and Malachi speak in frequency, we speak light language, and we're something totally different than most people are accustomed to witnessing.
Yes.
Or dealing with. And you've been able to get into the mire with us and discover what it is we're actually doing. We're not, we're not here to disempower you. We're not here to say you're a piece of shit. We're here to say, look at the piece of shit that you're allowing yourself to be. Look at that gunk. You are not it. Don't specify yourself to being inadequate. Like I've been through with you. It's the, inadequacy. And
yes. And that's what was coming through her. That's totally what was coming through her.
So the best we don't identify, and we let our egos just to kind of step to the side, and we feel from here, we think from our heart. We don't allow this mind space to take over, because that makes us dysphoric, and it brings in a lot of bleed in of our own pain, our own suffering, our own human condition. And so we're here to train and basically begin to teach people how to be in your heart, how to get out of that, and how to just live your purpose. So yeah, go on, tell your story.
Yes. And I think that it is an important story to share, just so that people can start to recognize this is what this looks like. When when it's happening to you, it might feel confusing to you, like what is really happening here.
It'll look like an attack. It usually does, because your ego is going to say they're attacking me. Oh, I'm being abused. When really it is just it's just a fractal of yourself trying to show you where you will not receive, where you are indifferent, where you're not willing to accept that, you're that too. And you face that, and you're not that forever, but you need to heal it, because that's what you're vibrating and attracting to yourself.
Right. And so basically, this guy who was being used to attack me, and I've never had someone in my life throw so much chaos in my field as this person. Literally was attacking me on so many levels. And by attacking, I mean exactly what you just said. So it was also a revelation for me simultaneously, and for that I'm grateful. So I want to, say that before going into it from the standpoint of an attack, because that's how I was experiencing it. So I was having this, breakthrough conversation with my brother and his wife on the back porch of our house. Mind you, Nikki had never come over to my house before. Never been over and spent time with my family. But she did not even text me, did not give any forewarning that she was coming. And suddenly she's at our front door, ringing the doorbell, and my niece or nephew come and get my brother, and my brother goes to the door, and she's saying to them that multiple people, multiple friends of mine are messaging her, telling her that I am being attacked and that I am misguided. And the truth was that only this guy had messaged her. Totally tweaked on her MK Ultra strings and sent her over to me to basically try and bash the goddess because I was stepping out of line into my true purpose. And it like tried to humiliate me in front of my family, try to say things that I was not quite sure how to say yet to my family. And my sister-in-law was like crying and crying and crying because like, I mean, I was in some ways grateful because it allowed me and my sister-in-law to have a breakthrough that we were having trouble having. I think your audio cut out for me. Oh, yeah, it says your
It's
audio's on
trying
mute.
to make me type.
There.
I'm like, what am I in right now?
There we go.
You needed that too. You needed, you know, your family to see the breakthrough that you're going through within. I mean, it's an inner thing that we all go through. And when I was going through it all, I had no ability to explain to my family. I had no ability to explain to anybody of what the chaos I was experiencing and what all that I was empathing and feeling of the collective. And I didn't even know. I had no clue what was happening to me in my mind. And but it was all necessary. It's part of this metamorphosis we're going through, and you know, we are going to learn what's innate and what's truth and what's just all fabricated lies of the matrix, you know, the whatever, the hidden agenda, all that's all the same damn thing. It's just in it's
sorry, my internet's glitching or something.
What were you saying? I couldn't hear you.
Oh yeah, my internet glitched there for a second, sorry.
Yeah, it's showing me that the connection's kind of unstable for us both, but that's our energies.
I know, you get us in the same space. It's like, but you know what? We're taking over, so it's fine.
As divine decrees, that's what we're here to do. We have to be a stop code on, or else no one else will be.
Yeah, exactly. And so it looks like we're receiving an incoming.
Yep. Hi, who is with us today?
Hey, how you doing? It's Frankie.
Who?
Frankie.
Oh, hi, Frank.
How you doing? Hello?
Awesome. It's great to have you. We're pretty much just waiting to see if anyone else is going to show up, and then I'm going to get into the transmission that Trinity brought through today.
Okay, cool.
All right. I don't even know what to say now. That's a lot to take in. Do you want to keep talking about your experience, Mita, or is there more you need to say about that? Yeah.
I just got excited because I saw Malachi Wabai.
The spirits are trembling within him right now. Hey, how?
Hey. My thing's going in and out, so interesting.
Well, so what he's channeling right now.
Yeah. Hello.
Hey.
But yeah, go ahead and finish saying what Nikki had come in and was saying and doing with your family.
So here's the thing. It's like she was channeling something that was trying to crush me, you know, and trying to crush me coming into my power. And it's like, whatever that was, it's like, I can forgive it. It's the fact that she wasn't taking ownership that made me feel like I don't know how to proceed with you. Because it's like, how can I co-create from a space of trust with you when you're not channeling from a space of being aware that you're channeling and not being aware of what you're channeling? So I end up blocking her from everything. And she eventually she got a new number and she decided to text me. And at first she said blessings, you know, and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't see her message. And then 30 minutes later, she comes back around and she's like, this is Nikki, but I don't know if you even care. And with that statement, I just felt so much of her projection of her own self-hatred, which I can recognize and stay strong in a way. I can stay strong in myself and recognize that, you know. But I'm still coming into a place of a relationship with myself where I'm learning how to respect myself and give myself compassion to what I need. And like, it's just really difficult to share an intimate friendship with someone that is projecting their self-hatred in such an unaware manner.
Sorry, Malika is making a noise, so I'm trying to hear you at the same time.
Yeah. So it's like interesting because I actually had more ability to receive whatever was channeling through her than herself.
That's pretty much what we're doing here now, though, because there's a lot of things a lot of people can't comprehend it. We were very lucky to even be able to get through what we did to be alive and be here.
Yeah.
With all the
that's true.
With our families, you know, we had to, in a way, separate ourselves from that and hope that later on in the future they'll be able to see as the collective begins to change, because
yes,
we're the first ones that have to come and do this, otherwise no one else is. And
right,
it's not easy. Most of us end up in loony bins, or we're put away where we can't be heard, and we're not fortunate to be able to start our academies or anything.
right.
Yeah,
that's our own but that's also our own journey that we've had to go through. You know, we have had to make that choice. Are we going to, you know, surrender our will to the divine, or are we going to continue this false idea that we have a free will to choose? And really we don't. And it's not that it's a bad thing to give up our free will. It's actually much more beneficial because it helps everybody come into one. Then you become one with everything.
We're just giving up the illusion of this self, this local self.
Yeah. But one of the hardest things I had to learn was learning how to let go. You know, it was, you know, holding on to attachments and holding on to expectations and trying to manifest at the same time, and, you know, holding on to this thought and everything. But, you know, of course, you got to let it go. And it took me 3 years to learn how to let go and just say, forget it.
And that's the hardest thing ever, is to let go. That's pretty much the breakthrough we're all coming to, is learning, you know, where do we let go and stop trying to control this ascension, trying to control the way, you know, let the old society control us, but, you know, also not us trying to. They're going to be dragged by the divine, kicking and screaming regardless what we do. You know, we just have to let go of those fractals that don't want to surrender. They don't want to step into their divine service. And, you know, we're not here to force them. We can't make them do that. But they're going to create a huge ripple effect next to our ripple effect. And that will sort of bring in a separation phase where people will need to choose. Do you want to be that, or do you want to be this? Do you want that old life? If so, go to your 3D. Go to the 3D. But we, stepping into 5D and beyond, we cannot continue to go there after this year. After this year, we're going to be in full within doing our thing, whether they like it or not. And if they don't like it, they can go to their churches, they can go do their thing. But, you know, we're not going to hesitate to be like, you're not in alignment with your true self. Please stop lying to the world. So that's basically where I'm at.
Right. For me, it was about, I actually had to let go of my attachment to the concept of humanity, because what I realized is that I had this really old karma in me that was ages old, this attachment to the promise of the rainbow after the first world flood. And I realized, you know what, this attachment is a dead weight. This is not really helping me do anything for humanity at this time.
It's like your compassion gets kind of mixed with too much turbulence, and that is that's within your gene key, Mita. You have 36 gene key as your attraction sphere, so you're coming through that shadow of turbulence. So you're seeing create your own turbulence, where you're attracting that turbulence back, and through your karmic, relations or whatever it is karmically that you have to face at this time.
That makes so much sense. Your sound cut out, dear.
You have the Siddhi of compassion, which is pretty much where you get confused, because you have so much compassion within you for humanity, because this is literally, you're stepping into the ring of divinity. You're going from the codon ring of humanity, which we all have to kind of face these codons within ourselves. And there's 21 of those. It's a lot to learn. And that's why I'm starting my academy, so people can start understanding the codon rings within us and how they all work and partner with each other, and how we all are meant to kind of catalyze or work with each other. And you have a gift with humanity that I don't have. My attraction sphere is the 16th gene key. I'm here more for versatility, mastery, and that's why I'm here to talk about my shadow of indifference, because a lot of people find that with me. They said they don't hear my voice, they only see my words, and then they put thought to those words that are their own conditionings. And that word's not the same to me. I hate words. I'd rather speak frequency. I'd rather hug you. I'd rather love you. I'd rather show you what you have, to show them compassion and show them that humanity is a gift. But first, you have to realize that you're a piece of shit too. And if you're a gift, you have to love that piece of shit. So going down the drain, say bless you, bye. But you honor it.
Well, shit can be a gift too, because it's fertilizer.
So, it really in their profiles, look into your own specific gene key within your attraction sphere, because that's what you are. Either it's the law of attraction, you're either bringing that shadow to yourself to face, or you're going to be stepping into your gift and truly radiating for all the Siddhi. We all want to become that Siddhi and go beyond that.
Yeah.
But this is just a foundation we can begin with as a collective. Soon enough, we'll go beyond even the gene keys or anything that we're working with. We're not to make a Bible of anything, but it's a foundation.
Right.
And as we grow together, we will create much, much more, and more wisdom and more knowledge will be downloaded into humanity, and we'll just be ascended, on earth, bringing heaven to earth. And we won't be fighting, we won't be having indifference, we won't be having all these shadows. But right now, that's all that humanity knows is the victim consciousness. And so to bring them out of that is going to take time.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I definitely feel the energy from you guys. I'm really going to say it's just wow.
Well, you're just wow too, Frankie, and so is Malachi. Everybody, we're all gonna wow each other. That's what we're here to do. Instead of playing World of Warcraft, we're playing World of Life. So
yeah.
I look at him, and you can see him, and then I look, he's hiding in the darkness, like the dark man he is.
I was laughing because you looked like back at him, or something happened, and he smiled, and then he just like shifted. And I was like,
that's what he's doing.
Yep.
He's playing right now. He's being
I see that. I see it.
I encourage him, just as everybody else, to, express themselves however they wish to. I'm not here to judge. I don't judge. I just empower. So.
Yeah.
He also has a lot to say, but he knows he's got nothing's in English. He's like,
Yep.
All right, well, I'm just going to start kind of reading what I wrote, and then we can get
Okay.
more discussing things. I wrote a lot today. Hopefully it doesn't take me too long to get through. I'm just gonna kind of, Malachi scoffs at me. He's like, yeah, one of my channels. Woo! That's why we're doing these. So people don't have to read so much. But I'm gonna, basically this video, the theme of it is the big exposure. We're gonna be discussing the global and social indifferences of the collective, which obviously we got a great start off to. This is within, I wanted to speak briefly today about my 16th gene key and attraction sphere. And at the end also include the 44th shadow and 48th gift. You know, either me or Mita will read part of this. Maybe I'll let you read the 48th gift because you started the 48th shadow. But we'll do that after I read what I just wrote. It's kind of what I was sharing on Facebook this morning, and it just kind of just came together for this perfectly. I love how divine timing is. But yeah, I'll read later at the end. I'll read more of the 44th shadow, which talks about karmic stuff, and it really comes into the Venus retrograde that's going on right now, forcing us all to really go through that eye of the needle. And as we're going through that eye, we want to decide what thread we're going to be weaving. Mine's golden. Somehow I'm in gold today, or coloring of yellow, so that's perfect. But you know, I'm choosing to be golden code. I don't want to do those shadows anymore. I'm choosing not to weave those threads in my life anymore, so I'm getting off that karmic loop. A lot of people are going back into that karmic loop, or just now coming to that precipice where they get to decide, do you want this to be a gold thread, you want this to be a red string, or whatever color it is of emotion that is going through it. We want to become the ecological torques of ourselves, so that emotion isn't disturbing the golden threads, if that makes sense. It's kind of hard to correlate these macro things into the micro. I will go into reading this. Basically, the Zoom today is about, we're going to be reading the 48th gene key, gift, and Siddhi, some of the Siddhi. Right now, the sun is positioned into this gene key until October 8th, and that's, you can find those correlations within the human design kind of, what is it, sphere wheel that I work with. And the pulse, that's what it's called, the gene key pulse of this week, which is where the sun is positioned, is within the 48th gene key. It's all about wisdom. We'll go more into that in a moment. But I wanted to emphasize that on the 5th, we began Venus retrograde, which is, like I said, we're all coming to that. We have to face ourselves, you know. The Venus sequence goes into our, as far back as our childhood. It goes into, you know, the different cycles of our learning and what was conditioned within us, what was programmed. And now we're going no matter what age we are, we're kind of doing a full circle, and we're taking a look at our lives and saying, where do we want to tweak this? Where do we want to not suffer on this anymore? What do we want to change? So we're choosing at this time to become the change, or keep repeating those karmic cycles, those karmic thoughts. And as we are processing all these things, I did it through doing a blog. I did it through writing in a journal, and that is where most of my work happened. And unfortunately, a lot of people think I was attacking them, but I was really only using Facebook or the social media as a mirror realm. I was seeing people where I was attracting my old shadow self, and what I was wanting to do in consciousness to leave that, so I can change what I'm attracting. So that we're here now trying to track not the indifference, but the versatility. Go ahead and speak.
I just have a question for you, actually. Mm-hmm. So by that mirror realm, would you call that ogdoadic?
What, like, would you call
like the way you were using Facebook, where it's like
mystical. Malachi is saying it's mystical. It's way beyond the ogdoad.
Oh, okay.
Ogdoad can't even access the mirror.
He says the ogdoad can't even access the mirror dimension.
Oh, interesting.
Only by permission of higher beings.
That's why they're limited to our knowledge.
That's why they're limited to our knowledge.
Oh, okay. I was making a mistake in interpretation then, so thank you for the clarification, Malachi.
See, I didn't even know. He's always teaching me.
Don't let the ogdoad fool you.
Don't let the ogdoad fool you, he says.
More limited than they claim.
More limited. Don't let the ogdoad fool you. They're more limited than they claim.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Thank you. Gratitude.
But so I used it, like I said, as a mirror dimension. And, you know,
I've been doing the same.
Instead of going out to my families or friends and using them as physical punching bags, which it can once in a while, I bit Malachi a few times and we went through our, well, he helped me through that. And I've been helping him. But that's why I'm so happy to have him around, because he's helped me see things that I would have been completely blind on this metamorphosis, and I'm not wanting to be what I am today or doing what I'm doing if it weren't for his empowerment for me. And, you know, having him caring about the goddess, you know, the first men I've ever met to actually honor the goddess and help the yin rise within me, and not in a sexual way. And Venus retrograde is actually making us see all our sexuality, seeing that core we once were and turning it into a sacred core, you know, where we honored that, we made our mistakes, we did our shit, and yeah, we played around in ways that hurt us. But now we're seeing where we're still sacred, we're still innocent, we're still loved.
Yes, absolutely.
That frequency, but we have to forgive ourselves. It's a journey of love, self-love, and forgiveness, no matter how deep and hard it hurts to realize, yeah, we made a mistake, or not even a mistake, but we turn that, it's just a lesson, and you turn all those lessons into blessings.
Right. No, I've been so grateful for the way
that's not easy. But yeah, you're right.
Right. It's not easy. Not at all. Did you want to say something?
I was just curious where Frankie's face went.
He doesn't have a face. He's on the phone.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah. You can.
Wow, he doesn't have a face.
This whole time I'm like,
who wants a face anyways? It's identified.
He melted it off with some acid, you know.
So the retrograde, obviously, in Venus, it's till November 16th, and we're gonna face a lot about ourselves during this time. And that's why I'm like, come on, people, get past your own egotistical mirror. Stop looking and seeing me as ego, because I just want to love you and want you to love you. And go ahead and say what you need to say.
Thank you. I just wanted you to complete your thought. Completed. Okay. So I was just going to say that something I'm learning, and that I feel like I'm even learning to put it into practice in my correspondence with you in our process. Your process with me, my process with you, is that when we are speaking to something, when we're speaking to something in a person, I think what I'm learning is that it's helpful to not speak to it as attached to that person, but as an energy itself.
Exactly.
Because it's not personal to that person.
Right. It's just no identification at all. I don't make an ID or label of whether it's you to the essence, or, you know, the essence to you. It's teaching both. It's a symbiotic relation.
Right.
So you don't identify to it. You just be, and you hold it. You be with
right. Right. Because if any aspect of it is sticking to me or speaking to me in my mind, then there's something there for me to look at, and I can thank you for that. So it's there's nothing to lose by having that humility in the process with someone.
Right. And it's just holding that honor and humility in that space of stillness for them. You know, and being the Siddhi, and that's just a sphere of, you know, love. You just be it. And that's what we're learning, your purpose of being and naturalness. I've been learning mine since I started learning in January, and I didn't even know it. My first video I ever finally got the courage to get on YouTube or whatever to do, and I was like, here's a reading, and then I'm like, oh wait, I'm crying my eyes out, and I'm actually going through this, and this is a sacred wound that is all me, but it's collective. Like, what the fuck? It's a constant treatment, and I was just like, I gotta unravel this.
I've been going through lately,
and then I'll be back.
Totally. I've been going through that lately myself.
Yeah.
Now it's my turn.
Yep. Malachi's been helping you a ton.
Yes, you guys have been helping me tremendously.
I'm trying to find better words for this mirror dimension thing.
He's trying to find some better words for the mirror dimension thing. He has.
Okay.
It's pure alchemy. It's above and below. The mirror dimension is also, it's not here, but it's not there. It's in between everything. It's liminal. So it's not.
It's a relationship.
It's not the abyss. It's not pure light. It's not anything. It's kind of in between everything. So it's really hard to explain it because the Hall of Mirrors. You've been to a circus, right?
Yeah.
And you've been to some circuses and some carnivals have the Hall of Mirrors. You go through this huge spiral, this labyrinth.
Yes.
And it's hard to get out of those if you don't know where you started.
Hey, here's an idea. I actually found this amazing game at my last Mind Body Spirit exposition or expo. I love those things because like I get healing, I get to be around amazing people, and I found this. They put what I'm doing with people onto a board game. So just picture this. Having fun.
Woo! Pretty. It totally looks like you.
This is the abyss we all go into. There's your abyss that Malachi loves to play. I'm doing heroic act. See that mirror dimension? Here I am playing around.
Yes.
Huge game of life. Like the new life game or Monopoly, but better.
Yeah.
So,
Totally.
you know, the mirror
That's
dimension
awesome.
is just one of those things that kind of help you. It's a gateway. It's just a portal that you can work in and not have any karmic backlash, so to speak. So you go in there, you do some mirror stuff, and then you do a heroic act and you move around the board, kind of. So you can move around however you want in your own journey to make it, to bridge heaven to earth. Sometimes you have to go to the abyss. Sometimes you have to have someone heroically step in, take you out of the abyss because you're so fucked up down there. Or you know, it's just it is mystery. And that's why they call it Quintangle.
Cool. That's awesome.
So I'm going to just basically start doing that in lives with people. I just can't play the game with them. Those who want to play the game in like real person, I'm going to make groups.
Yeah.
And to help teach and whatnot. But online, that's the best I can give an idea. It's a board game we're playing together. And, you know, it's all just a game. And the goal is to, you know, bring heaven to earth and just to be amazing, you know, and it's not really, it's like a hero's journey, but we're not each other's heroes. We're our own hero in a way, you know, and we're saving ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're working as fractals of one another to also do that. So it's a huge confusing thing, but also so cool that we're all one. And instead of being in competition, we're empowering one another, especially when we're down in the dumps. You know, instead of letting one another complain all the time, we're like, hey, what can you do to fix that? You know, where can we tweak that? Where can we, on a vibrational inner level, start to work on that so it's not attracting to us? And that's basically what all this is about. I'm going to read some more unless you want to talk some more. Got a little soot on your nose.
Soot.
Go look in the mirror. You got black soot on your nose. It's adorable. I'm just, where did you get that? And then you just use your shirt.
He must have stuck his nose into the abyss.
Yeah, he is the abyss. But he bitch right now, so he probably got something on his face.
Oh, there's a lot I could say right now, but I really don't want to take away from the time of the video. So.
We'll do plenty of them.
She doesn't really get the floor very often, so I'm like, I really don't want to steal the thunder here.
We're both the same thunder, so if you need a strike, go for it.
I don't know.
I'm gonna blow my love. And his phone's going off anyways. It's probably Star.
Oh man, you got it right.
I got it right! See, I just know who's calling.
I'm really tickled to get to see his face finally, because I've never seen you in real time, like video. It's like so cool.
You're good to go though.
It's like I want to run up and give you this huge hug.
I know, right? I get to hug that bear all the time.
Well, I guess it's appropriate that you get to see the face of the you know,
That's
the whatever that talks to you for 4.5 hours every day. You're
The revolving door of who talks to me, you mean?
Yeah, we never really actually see each other. I'm over just giving you spiritual commands, and I'm just this open vessel, and all these evil entities come through me, and they're like, blah, 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 and I'm like, shut the fuck up.
I'll hug them all. It's cool.
When they speak through my mouth, it's really annoying. Some of them really want to destroy everything, and I really don't like them at all.
I slap them quite often. I'm usually like, get out of here, bring me Malachi back. You're a douche, but I love you. And go fix yourself.
After you're done reading, I don't know if there's any time.
No, we'll have time. This can go as long as we want it to. I'm sweating. That means good stuff. Are you?
I was like, what was that, Trinity? Was that a booby check?
Yeah, I'm showing you boobs. I'm ready to strip. That's why I don't do videos, because I sit around naked. Like being enclosed. Like, sorry, I can't do videos because unless you want to see me.
Because her boobs start to sweat.
Okay.
I'm sweating too, actually.
Right? Just a lot of energy. I mean, it's just, it comes through our sweat, comes through our tears, and it's coming out of our bodies. So whether it's great emotions or negative emotions, I'm just happy it's flowing.
Speaking of which, look what popped this morning.
What was it? A sty?
It was a glandular infection.
I knew it. You had some lymphatic stuff going on. I was like,
it was the same thing Ambrosia got. It was something. It was some sort of either someone whispered to do it, or it was entity itself that wanted to interact with me in that way. So it was most certainly not just on this plane.
Right. No, definitely not. It never is. I mean, that's what.
Yeah.
Understanding what shows up in the body. It's always an energetic thing. You know, it's always a.
And as we process it and our body heals,
you don't attach. Just don't attach to it. You know, people are like, I got this disease. Well, you can shift that if you work on your vibrational body.
Right, and it can be a means for you to process something else that you've really needed to process and let go of.
Yep, your body had to physically go through it and release it in some form, and that whatever form or dis-ease within the body, you just don't identify to it. You just be with it. That's where I've gone through years and years and years of body pain, and I've learned that unless you sit with it and send it love, it's just going to keep you worse until you actually allow it to move through your body the way that it's needing to, because if you try to control it in any way, you'll get constricted even more, and it'll get sicker, you'll get more pain. So I always send light and love to my body. I've been using this protocol with my right side for a long time now, because my right side, my masculine side's been beat up since forever, and I've been learning this body process through that. That's why I understand everything going on with the masculine right now, and with the feminine trying to rise back up. My feminine was always very weak. I've had like parts of my aura that leaks, and I'm taken, I can very much be, I guess I can take in energies that I shouldn't otherwise attach to very easily. And I just have open parts of my aura that would allow other energies to leak in and affect my body. And so my right side is always, the masculine's been for a long time fighting the feminine rising. I've been afraid, my feminine, very afraid in this lifetime to even come forth and do what I'm doing, because in past lives I was murdered, I was tortured, or I died and killed myself because I couldn't deal with it. But by the time I was 25, I've never lived past the age of 25 as a human until this lifetime. So I already feel very fortunate to actually be here. Whereas when I was 25, I almost killed myself. I almost didn't make it this lifetime again, but then something involuted over me, divine grace took over me and said, your consciousness is transforming. You're not going to go out of this life without leaving a legacy behind. And that's where it's between that time, and it was around probably between 2007 and 2011 that most of this started happening to me. I started just I got, pregnant, I started learning massage, and that was opening me up to understanding that there's this whole other energetic world that my mom shut me off from in her religious world. And I didn't know what Reiki was. And even when going through school, she was telling me, be careful in what they teach you and blah, blah, blah. And,
Right. We were shut off from our mystic nature.
Yeah,
from an early age.
Mystic elemental nature, and I
Yes.
was more drawn to that stuff than anything. I was just like, cool, but still in that fear of the new these realms that I didn't understand of magic. And she's still stuck in those karmic wheels and thoughts, but I've come through them. I've had to really face my fear of demons, my fear of everything, anything,
Yes.
and that
Yes.
began me just coming into knowing that I'm here to touch people, touch the world, and give them Midas touch. But then I was only learning the physical body and the application of that. Now
We are so much the same person. Sometimes it like freaks me out.
Well, we are like twins on a hologenetic profile, so it makes sense.
Yes, because when I was a little girl, I would have these visions. Like anytime anyone got hurt, I'd want to run over and put my hands on them. And I'd be like, I know I have the power to heal this if I just believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that naturally. So I so feel you on that. And
I
I was just going to say that all children love crystals. You will never meet a child that does not love crystals.
I love crystals. I have them all around me.
Yes.
I throw them too. They're like stones.
Who is that motherfucker?
That is actually, this is a blue obsidian.
I meant who knocked it out of your hand, but that's beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. Found these, and it's actually in my book. I was going to do a guided meditation for people to work with it. It helps you with your truth, so I keep it by me.
That's a cool shape.
Stone. Yeah, right. I thought so too. This is Malachi's. Mine looks like a hook. It kind of looks like a raptor hook.
What is it called again?
It's called blue obsidian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But so yeah, that's kind of been my journey. I've had to come through a lot of fear barriers, and a lot on my own, and my family has just seen me as just possessed or something, and I'm like, I am full of,
I can so relate.
so I'm like, I promise you this isn't a demon. I promise you it's the Holy Spirit. You just never witnessed it before, because your churches weren't really showing it. They're just preaching. Yeah, this is, I don't even know. I don't want to go into all that and waste our time, but
yeah.
I've had to come through a lot to start attracting something different into my life. And I've had to work on myself inwardly and on a vibrational level for years. And if I hadn't been, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing for people now, to teach them to become masters of themselves. I'm not here to be your master. I'm not here to tell you how to do it, but I've got a lot of wormholes to miracles, so to say, that will work, that will quantum leap you so that you're not struggling so long with certain aspects of the journey. And I wish that
that's what your boot camp is really about.
Exactly. But there's now more and more people awakening, and so it's not going to be as hard. Humanity will be able to kind of quantum leap in a way if they allow themselves to. But it has to be an inner choice of trust, and it all boils down to trust. That's why I keep telling you, are you going to trust me? Regardless of what I say, will you trust me regardless of what words are spoken or what emotions fly or what happens on stage? Because it truly doesn't matter. The fact is that there is no matter. We really don't exist. And until we anchor in our higher selves, that ego will keep fighting. It will keep rejecting it. It will keep finding indifference, and it'll find a story to align to that is a victim consciousness. And I'm just here to break that. And I'm cracking a whip on that ego, and that ego is going to be all the time. I don't give a shit. I'm like, I have no attachments. You can come to me or not. I don't give a fuck. I love you. But I'm not going to let you keep living that outdated story. I'm here as a programmer, as an activator, to change the world. And I've done so by changing my own life first. I have actually, whereas a lot of people are going, oh, this is happening to me and I'm experiencing this. I have stories that are my truth. They aren't just my truth, but they're turning into a collective truth. And so that's why I'm turning my experiences into a book that will help other people to learn how to detach and stop identifying to every little thing. Because it's starting to piss me off, I guess, just because I don't identify. I don't have an ego to claim, and my ego is totally merged with that of my higher self. Like, there is no fighting. When divine will says something, I say, okay. I surrender instantly. I'm not battling it like I did before. This has been like years, at least 7 years of the between both. And finally, I've come to a point where it's just like, okay, your will be done. Like you saw me in crying in my video. I was literally surrendering. That's what it takes to surrender and say, your will be done. Fuck these, fuck what's happening to me.
Absolutely.
I'll take the heat. What are you laughing at?
That's what it takes for a Virgo, Libra, and a Libra to surrender. You almost have to kill you.
You have to, he's saying here, like, for a Virgo Libra to surrender, you have to almost kill you. I'm like, God, I've been killing myself. Slowly.
Well, you know what I went through with my ex, and that was my version of that. But what I needed, what I started to realize is that I cannot any longer accept this process coming so from the masculine side. I needed the goddess to step in and to be the one. I mean, I'm not saying that it's just masculine or feminine, because it's one, it's monadic, but it's like I needed that coming from a woman.
And I
This
see
time
a
around.
nice woman, and that's why a lot of women also find a difference with me, because they feel that they see me as a woman, but they feel that masculine fight or that masculine barrier, and they're like, what the fuck are you? I'm like, I am not a woman. Now I'm a woman. But I'm the man here, and I'm gonna fucking put a boot in your ass, because I'm done with tapping around.
I feel you, man. I've got that masculine side too. Like I was saying, I was just like, girl, you direct it, I become the bodyguard. That's Blue Solar Night right there. It's like, you know what? You speak, girl, and I will
shut
be right there.
Right? Nope. That's awesome. And I need people to help me with that, because I'm not perfect. I'm still learning what the fuck what I'm supposed to be doing here. I'm only now starting to even grasp it. And if it weren't for the genius hiding in the corner, you know, fuck.
Hiding in the corner right now.
He's cooking dinner. He's not hiding in the corner. He's actually being productive. So one of us are on camera, the other is feeding us. So at least we're eating. That's all that matters. So that our shadow of hunger doesn't go into chaos. But yeah, I'm gonna finish reading this and just try to get through this channel so that we can actually get into talking about this.
Yeah, let's keep it moving.
Because I'm talking over and I go off track, but
let's keep it moving.
To lead into the traction sphere.
Don't mean to be rude, but I'm gonna get going.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
You can always come back later and watch it later if you can't stay. Cool that you're here for now. It's nice to talk to you, Frankie.
All right. Take care, guys.
All right. See ya. All right. So I had written that Trinity is stepping into diving deep into Kymberly, which is this body. Trinity is just what I'm going to say that first and foremost. It is an entity of support that I channel. I will be taking that name in this lifetime, but I'm still, I'm still Kymberly. I'm still the consciousness of Kymberly, and I'm only surrendering to Trinity, which is basically what all we are. We all are part of this Trinity, this higher self, and we're all one. It's all that is to me. I asked Source, what do I call you? What is my name? What is their name? What is the name? And I got Trinity. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Right.
I'm not Christian anymore. It's so much more. I'm like, okay. So it's been since 2014-ish that this has been coming to me, and it's been integrating within me. And then I found the gene keys, and it speaks of all of it. I'm like, oh my God, this makes sense. So you go within the depths of the glossary of the gene keys, and there you go. That's what I'm here to do. And my profile just speaks for itself. I'm meant to work with this stuff and be it. And it's just, there's no escaping that. It's just, I have to surrender to it. So here I am as the gene key speaker.
I understand, girl.
No, I don't know. It's just,
I understand, girl. That's exactly how I feel about Metastar.
That's awesome.
It's like the answer I get is when I ask why me, the answer I get is because someone has to.
Someone has to do it. And no one else is willing to. They're terrified. I'm like, I'm just as scared. I'm this little ant. No, you will be great, is what they told me. And that was when you and I were engaging back in 2015. I was having that battle with myself, and I'm like, I don't want this mission. Who the fuck are you teaching? What are you
Right?
making me do this for? I'm on a boat in the middle of Lake Powell. What the fuck am I supposed to do, man? I'm just canoeing. Hey, I want my twin flame.
I remember that moment. I
Let's
remember that.
They're like, you're a whole mother to the whole planet. I'm like, no, I'm not. Okay.
I remember, girl. I
And
remember
it freaked
that.
me the fuck out, man. Now I'm ready to be a mom. So, you know, I've reparented myself, so I don't feel like I'm doing it, you know, that I'm, you know, beating my children, so to speak.
Yep. I
So,
feel you.
yeah.
I feel you.
All right, so you know we're coming into that attraction sphere, and recognizing the gift of it, which I'm recognizing my gift of versatility, rather than, you know, focusing on the gift of the shadow of indifference that just seems to be swarming me all the time, and everybody that doesn't want to listen to the transmissions that I bring. But I'm ignoring all that and I'm moving forward. Trinity is now challenging that anyone who also engages with DNA coding to go get their own free profile and begin diving into the sphere in their hologenetic profile, so that we can begin as a collective to unravel the sacred wounds we all inherently battle with. That's all the shadows, the human psychosis and victim consciousness that is swarming humanity right now. Like I was saying, mine's that of indifference, and I'll speak briefly upon this in this Zoom. I'll read a little bit from the shadow. As Venus leads us into facing karmic relationships and sexuality, which is within the 44th gene key, and it speaks in depth upon that, we will be discussing what the retrograde is doing for us at this time to help us with the toxicity we have chosen to engage with, whether that be our own shadows in the attraction sphere or Venus sequences, or any other victimized, outdated programming one may struggle with at any given time. We are beginning now until November 16th to look and pass through as a collective the eye of the needle. We all have begun sewing our own layer of the hue in this tapestry we are, and it's time to make a choice to weave something golden or continue weaving in karmic programs that are into what I call is our new story. Instead of you, we are new. We're becoming new, and you, and the you. Instead of, you know, words and letters over time have really fucked up what we're creating here. It is
They're like boxes closing in our creative power.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, we're trying to change things a little bit, and there's no more you, there's no more identity. We're all new, and it's a new story we're bringing to the table. Instead of saying our old story, which is all about the you, we're now stepping into the new beginning. And in order for humanity to collectively raise their vibration and consciousness for the whole, one must choose to sacrifice its own ego or will. And free will is becoming really literally an illusion, as it always was. Our human desires are being tested with divine will and grace to break through what is called the 60th gene key, and that's of justice. That's the Siddhi of justice, and become the 35th, which is also my that's my love point in the gene key profile. I am a wormhole to miracles. And so I'm basically, as my heart's cracking open, as I'm opening up and allowing myself to be divine, I'm showing others how to also embody their divinity. And that's all I can do for the future, is be a divine entertainer while I'm sitting here going, you know, I love myself, I truly do love myself. But they're like, no, you don't. I'm like, yeah, no, you don't. I do. It's been a long freaking journey, and there's little things here and there that I'm like, I really don't try to use the word hate anymore. That's something that I've taken out of my vocabulary so that I can actually learn to love everything. Instead of saying, I hate this about myself, I say, I honor this about myself for now. This can change. I know we can heal our lives. So it's a matter of changing what we say towards our bodies, towards ourselves, towards us. And towards
always having gratitude to that moment. Right. Always having gratitude, never losing connection with that gratitude to the moment, even no matter how much the intensity feels, be grateful to that.
Exactly. So as I've become a wormhole to miracles, this is what all the cosmos is cheering about, and they want us to begin doing the genetic laundry together. Essentially, humanity is on a fast track to having a quantum leak, where if they utilize this, I'm feeling that if we utilize this gateway and we journey into our Venus sequences, we've been going through the activation, everybody's kind of been coming online, and those who aren't will catch up. They will see the videos, they'll catch up, and they'll start being like, whoa, this makes sense, and they'll catch up. But you and I have been working through our activation, and we're lucky to have each other as mirrors to do that, because we have exactly the same thing. I've gotten a head start on it, so you've been able to kind of just fall in line, and I've been able to kind of show you, hello, this is what we're doing.
Yes.
But as we're coming to a point where we're wanting to move from that purpose, because we're seeing our purpose here. We're now seeing how we're being and becoming natural at just being who we are and what we're here to do as our 10th gene key. But we're moving now into our attraction sphere. Like I said, yours is the 30, I think yours is 36, right? Yeah. No. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you said yours is 36. Mm-hmm. Okay, and mine is 16. So you and I are kind of working between our
attraction sphere. Yes, yeah, 36.
That's 36. Mm-hmm. And mine's 16. And so now we're both working through those shadows, and we're starting to see where we're attracting those karmic, the 44th gene key karmic relationships to us, or how we're now attracting others like ourselves to it. And how we're going to start working with each other to attract something greater and start working through healing our own wounds. We're meant to do that together. We're not meant to be healing on our own anymore. We're a collective now healing Gaia and having a twin heart with her. What we heal within, we heal for her on the outside too. So she's going to be shifting and changing. So what we heal as a collective, it'll make it, basically, if you want less destruction from the earth, stop being so destructive towards yourself and towards others. It's an equal exchange type of thing, look at it from that. Like if you want the hurricanes to calm down, stop being a hurricane and attacking other people or ignoring other people trying to get your attention and give you their story. Like let people share their journey, but don't align to the victim consciousness. Because the victim consciousness, the ego, and the ignorance is what will create more destruction and more annihilation until it's fucking gone.
You straight up sounded like Moses. Let
my people go! So like, you sound like Moses. I am Moses, dang it! I'm child of the Almighty, and I'm here to do like, do you want to drown? Or do you want to join the master ship boat cruise and actually have some fun and learn how to fly?
Yeah. Yes.
He's learned to appreciate my vocabulary. What vocabulary?
What I've also been learning, and it goes hand in hand in the paradox to what you just said, is that when you are being faced with an energy that's chaotic and wants to destroy, instead of like recognizing that as an aspect of yourself that feels that way,
right? And just honor it. I mean,
just honor it.
Honor it, and then it'll stop screaming at you.
Right. When I was speaking with Astrat the other day, as soon as I just was like, because he was all like, oh, you think that you're some savior and you're gonna come to battle, we're gonna break you and blah blah blah. I was like, no, actually, what I said was that I was saying that to tell everyone else to step up and be the savior.
Right.
And second of all, I'm not interested in doing battle with you. I'm interested in understanding you.
I want to understand you and want you to understand yourself. Go deeper. That's basically what we're telling them. And they're just like, we don't know what that means.
Well, actually, after that, he chilled the fuck out and he was just like gracious to hang out with me.
Right. Yeah, and it just takes a lot to get people to that point of surrender, being like, I'm not here to hurt you. You need to stop beating yourself up so I can stop beating you up.
Right, and I was just like, I can understand why you feel that way. I feel that way too sometimes.
That way too, and I let it go. I put it in my journal and I screamed about fat people and I let it go. I lost so much weight that I started begging them, can I have your fat, please? I need some weight.
What was that, Malachi?
He says that's ridiculously funny.
Oh, which part?
Me.
Oh. The fat part or which part?
She's saying which part? What's ridiculously funny? All of it. Everything. But anyways, okay. So, but we're looking.
I agree. You are ridiculously funny.
Good. That's all I can be, is to learn how to laugh, because I didn't used to laugh at myself. I used to have a huge stick up my ass and be like, My ex-husband's like, got a sense of humor. I'm like, go fuck yourself. I am funny and I don't know what it means to. I didn't then know. I didn't know shit of how to have fun and laugh at myself. I was that much I was still doing my life's work, only I was a shadow of seriousness. I wasn't ecstasy. I was just serious all the time. So now I'm
Hello, twin.
Greater. Yeah, so we're learning to actually embody our gifts that lead us.
We're learning how to embody that giddy, elemental, ecstatic, blissful nature that we share.
Right. I love it. It always makes things fun, keeps everybody on their toes too.
Yeah.
That's what my life's work is a dancer, and then my purpose is to use my voice. I just haven't been using my voice. I have always had a fear of using my voice because I'm dyslexic. I always feel like I'm saying the wrong thing, or that I'm going to say the wrong thing. My greatest fear is ever public speaking, or literally speaking, is my fear. So I'm transcending my fears as we go through all these things. I too am also going through the process of metamorphosis into divinity. So that's just what I want people to know. I don't use my voice. I write and people judge. People assume. Once I use my voice,
girl.
It changes the tone entirely of what I'm bringing forth. So I'm like, okay, I guess I do have to do videos. They're like, yeah, people are just going to keep getting mad at you. Otherwise, I'm like, yeah, why can't I just write my book and be here alone and, be introverted? They're like, no, you're not to be introverted. You're to be a leader. And they get on stage and talk. I'm like,
I still feel you, girl. I've been showing up the same way lately, and it's just like, well, they're not getting it, so what do I do now?
What next?
No one's liking it because they don't understand what the fuck I'm talking about.
Exactly. It's like, they just think I'm alone. I'm not alone. I'm bonkers. I'm batshit crazy, he says. No, eventually they're gonna, what did I show you today? They're gonna end up saying that what did I write to you? I forgot. I gotta find it. It's up earlier. No, it's just a matter of time before they add the word syndrome after my name.
Oh, yes, I read that.
So, yeah. So we're challenging this small identity that even we're working through right now to burn away the shadow of our own attraction sphere for good. That's what we're beginning.
Yes, and that I think is probably the biggest reason why my own family has had so much resistance, because it's like they still want to put me in that Melinda box. They're like, but you're Melinda. You got to be Melinda. And I'm like,
well, my mom was always asking me,
it's like a little tiny window that I'm like, hi guys.
What's that little tiny piece of me? Hi. Yeah, no, that's basically what I dealt with my family too. They're like, they saw me change my name, and even earlier this year, my mom gave me a birthday card that she tried to honor Trinity, but she had written Kim on it, and then she crossed it out and wrote Trinity with a question mark. So, yeah, like, but we're still indifferent. She's still, your Jesus isn't my Jesus. We have different beliefs. I'm like, you got beliefs. I got freedom.
One thing I hear about is blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, my mom and I were just, I love her from a distance, but I truly love my family. I just wish that they saw that I have a mission that's just as important as them. I'm not all Jesusing it up 24/7, but Christ is very strong. I'm still
Yes.
love. I'm still
Well, that's because Christhood is much more than Yeshua. You know what Yeshua told me the other day when I was talking to Malachi? Suddenly, this is the first time he was willing to talk to me in a long time. Because the last thing he said to me when I first came here is I was in a mall shopping for clothes. This was a few months back. And I'd just gotten out of this relationship and made the realization that I'd had a real bona fide handler. And for those of you who don't know what that means, that's a masculine partner whose role is to crush the Magdalene frequency. And it's part of her initiation into coming into her true power. So it's like ultimately that masculine's desire is to see her come into her power, but his means are questionable.
That was my ex-husband for me. And
Yes.
that I faced after that, Brandon.
Yes.
A lot of them. I finally had to just surrender, and I started working with clearing my own emotional frequencies and my own. And then I finally chanting a ton in Lake Powell, on the spirit of water, and and getting to talk to you. You helped me a ton. Then you blew my brain with your channels. I couldn't even do that at that time. I was just like, this is new. So knowing the
Thank you so much.
And then meeting him instantly, I knew who he was. He came into the metaphysical store, and I was like, whoop! I'm like, who's this guy? Obviously, I have to talk to him. I'm like, you better make him talk to me. And they're like, nope, you are going to approach. And I'm like, that's not the way this works. I'm the woman. He will approach me. And they're like, not in this world. You approach him because he's going to go kill himself otherwise. I'm like, what?
And that was Lilith. That was the Lilith talking to you right there.
And
because she's told me, she's been showing me a ton how I had my ideas of the genders completely mixed up due to the incorrectness of the programs of the Eve.
Yep.
And basically, were you done telling your part, or were you going?
No, you go.
Something just fell. No, it's because my nephew slammed the door.
Okay, I'm like, what fell? Does it have importance? Is it a book?
I'm not sure what fell, to be honest.
Well, let me know what it was later. We'll figure it out.
Oh, it was just my sunflower seeds falling over. I moved the bottle.
Grace has been eating sunflower seeds lately.
You've been eating a lot?
Grace has been eating sunflower seeds.
Yeah, I saw her walking through.
Oh, did you? Yeah, I don't know what she was right now.
She was on a chase for something. But
I knew she wouldn't eat the fish.
Oh yeah, she's hungry. Oh yeah, that's what's going on. It's coming to food time.
Hey, maybe
yes.
Go grab her a steak.
Yeah, go ahead and get her a steak from Texas.
Grace, you still want steak?
She was asking for that early, but go ahead and finish what you were saying.
It's open now, probably. So
I was in this mall, right, and shopping for clothes because I needed new clothes in my life, and it was like, it's like when you went through something rough as a goddess, like your first reaction is like, how can I pamper myself? Oh, let's go shopping.
I do it. I'll go buy a tarot deck, or I buy little things, but
how can I pamper myself? So I'm at the mall, and I just realized that my ex had been my handler, and Yeshua says to me, he says, because I was like, okay, I have to say this part first, or otherwise it won't make sense.
Okay.
I was looking at these t-shirts and everything they said on them, and I was like, oh, none of these messages, like, why do they write such stupid stuff on t-shirts? It's like, these are worthless pieces of shit messages. And Yeshua says to me, he says, well, I can get you a t-shirt that says Yeshua is my handler.
That's gotta be fun.
I know, that's like, because he's like the opposite of that. He's so the opposite of that. But like, it was just, he was making me laugh because he doesn't know this, but he has an insane sense of humor.
Oh, why do you think I keep him around? He's my bro. Like, where do you think my sense of humor comes from? How do you make everything a joke now? Because I'd rather not be too serious about it, because then I'll just like blow my brains out or something. Not, jokingly. I just like, it has caused a
I
lot of
understand.
indifference within myself to not be able to have us, laugh things off, especially if it gets so intense within a journey. It's just, it'll devour your whole life if you let it. And many times circumstances took over me. And that's a lot of big reason why my marriage also failed, because my ex-husband wanted more freedom, and I was very Christian. And if he didn't align to my Christian ways, he was like, he just didn't even want to deal with it. He didn't want to be married to my mother. He wanted to be married to me, which was something that I didn't even know what the fuck I was. I didn't know what that was. I didn't get the chance to get married before having children. And so, unfortunately, that destroyed my first marriage, but it all is divine timing anyways, because if that didn't fall apart, I wouldn't have learned what I've learned. I wouldn't have fell in love with the man who's dead now that's catalyzing and making me leave a legacy and writing a book. I wouldn't have Malachi to understand what it is to be a medium, to be able to communicate to my true love that passed. I wouldn't have anything now. I wouldn't understand what's going on, what I am, or what I'm here to do. I wouldn't be doing the academy. I wouldn't be on videos. I'd probably still be in the basement of my ex-husband's parents' house playing World of Warcraft and ignoring my children, which that's not the life I wanted to live. I didn't want to lead that. And once I started massage school, I was just like, I need to do something with my life that is much more than just labor. I needed to have fun. I needed to have a purpose, a divine purpose, where I feel like I'm fulfilling the mission God put me here for. Whatever that God was to me at the time was the Christian Jesus, but it's much beyond that. I'm everything, all of it. I don't identify anything, whether it be a demon or an angel. They're both in my eyes. I don't have any fear. And even when he channels beings, he'll sit there with me and just kind of look at me. Why aren't you afraid? I'm like, what the fuck do I have to be afraid of?
Right.
If you wanted to hurt me, you would have already. If I wanted to hurt, if I wanted to be hurt, I would be dead right now. Like, I wouldn't be here.
That's also a big part of my natural ability.
Yeah, his ability to hold them back.
Yes, I see that about him. That's a huge difference between him and a lot of the masculines who are wielding a similar kind of craft. He has a sense of self-control that I have not witnessed.
Right.
And it's because his journey started in a very, very different way than most masculines I've seen practicing that. Because most masculines have done it out of a desire to wield their own power.
Right. And
he was doing it out of a desire to surrender to the goddess. And that's a huge difference.
He's the only man I've met that actually is able and willing to surrender to the goddess, to the point where he wants her to eat him all the time. So he's totally devoured by the goddess, and is willingly so. And that's what all men need to allow. And even the women that have more masculine energy about them, because they've had to hold their own weight forever, because the men have wanted to power over us and oppress over us, and said, we've become more masculine in defense of our yin. The yang is imbalanced entirely within the feminine, and then there's absolutely very rarely do you find a man with any yin risen within him. And Malachi, he's coming into that balance.
Well, actually, that's not true, because what I see is that there's a huge disproportionate amount of yin being and so many men, because what they are doing is they're going through this whole like, look at me, I'm the most beautiful thing on earth. So Luciferian, you should worship me. Oh, worship me so I can crush you. It's like, that's actually the yin right there. That should be belonging to the role of the feminine, not the masculine, and they're backwards. And this is what Lilith fucking has been teaching me and beating into my school. She's like, until you understand this, you're gonna be lost, honey. You're gonna be lost.
Like, you're gonna just keep bringing your own doom to yourself. You're gonna keep suffering. That's the thing. Suffering is an illusion. You have to surrender. Surrendering is the only way out of suffering.
Because when I first came out of that relationship, I was just like, and just so that you who don't know this about me, I was in a relationship where I was basically a submissive sex slave to my ex. And
I know this.
yeah, she knows this, but anyone watching this might not.
Everybody else does not know.
And
yet.
he was channeling a lot of Luciferian aspects. We were ayahuasca shaman serving people, and a lot of like spiritual energy surrounding this. And so, and I actually, from my friend, received a story of her experience where they all did DMT together, and her and another woman experienced this Luciferian energy coming through her. I'm assuming it's Luciferian, but maybe correct me if I'm wrong. If Malachi, you get something different. But he was trying to trap the goddess's energy in that sphere.
That's Medeo's.
And something was trying to harvest the goddess energy right there. And it reminded me of when he told me about Lucifer trying to steal grace. But so that was even after I left. That's what was reported back to me. And my friend is very, very powerful, and she's been doing work in that sphere to correct things. And she works with Lilith, she works with Sophia, and he's actually afraid of her now. So it's good. It's a good thing. But when I came out of that, I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna find this man who wants to like treat me like a queen and treat me like nothing but a queen, and I'm gonna get married, and I don't want to have sex even till I'm married, you know.
I would
And but Lilith was like, why the fuck do you want to get married?
Right.
Why would you box in your yin energy like that? And she was just disgusted. She was disgusted with me.
What is sacred?
And I didn't. She was just like, girl, I can help you, but like, you've got to like let me in.
Yep.
You've got to learn how to trust me, because learning how to trust me is about learning how to trust yourself.
And that's kind of the approach I have with embodying Lilith. And when I tell anybody, trust me, it's basically me taking on that persona of Lilith, being a mirror before you, and actually embodying her so you can be one-on-one. And where it's not like,
I was like, but you're scary. I was like, but you're scary.
Exactly.
I was like, you want to manipulate all the men. You want to destroy them. And it's like basically what my ex had been projecting onto me. He was projecting that onto me already. And he was just like, did you come here to destroy me?
Just a little bit.
Just a little up.
And I'm like, well, you know, I can finally come back and say, yes, actually, accepted.
Right? Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Unless you're
Because I get what it's about.
like most men, you just dive right into the mouth of Lilith, like, yes! And then she spits like, you're too good. It tastes too good. I need you in the world. So she doesn't devour. Okay, I wanted to share this experience that just kind of came through me today. Kind of a past life thing that's a genetic laundry that we all kind of need to work with together.
Yes.
Kind of a long tangent, but I'll try to get through it. Do I want to eat?
Just a few bites before you.
He made me a fish sandwich.
Oh, I love fishies.
Be a little crunchy.
Yeah, the bread might be too much for me. Here you go. I'll eat some of it. That's why I need a paper towel though, or something.
It's funny. I really don't mind just hanging out with you and Malachi.
Huh?
I really don't mind doing this just with you and Malachi, to be honest.
Me too. It's a good start. Not as overwhelming. To say the least. Here, I'd be like a little scattered brain because they probably all would try to talk, and I'd be like,
I know. I'm gonna have to learn how to crack the whip.
Channel with you. And we're talking about good things. It's leading up to what needs to be talked about. You know, it's everything that people won't face. They don't want to see it. You know, they're in that fear of Illuminati. Well, they're being forced to be illuminated instead. It's like, get your head together. Quit being in fear.
Right. And for those listening, it's not to say that you don't have valuable things to contribute to this space.
Exactly. No, they do. That's what we want them to bring to the table. What are you going to bring against her? You can bring us a shit pile of shadow. You're like, let's talk about what gifts we are, and let's get past the shadow. Let's transcend the shadow. Let's do that work, that genetic laundry. Let's face that shit.
Yeah, let's get past the ego, blah, blah, blah.
I'm like, you don't get to the gift frequency without that, seeing what you were, what you are, and what we all are, and as a society have become. And if you want that to be different, get your head out of your ass. That's basically all I could say to people. That's why I don't have a family or friends or anything, because I just say, can you get your head out of your ass and be love with me? And they're like, eh! They run away. I'm like, I asked for love, true love, unconditional love, that I'm willing to extend you if you extend it to me too, because I've already extended it to you. Now I'm asking you to hold space for me. Hear my story.
Sometimes I think that people can't recognize the form of unconditional love, which is full spectrum.
Yeah.
I had to go through that understanding with you too. So I get it. I understand why people get confused,
and I understand that confusion, and that's the indifference that comes with my attraction sphere. So, I've come to understand me through gene keys, which is fucking like, wow, how easily I can understand myself.
Smiley face.
It is a smiley face.
aww.
Smiley face on the plate. It'll disappear. The universe.
Happy clean plate.
Yeah, he's devouring that fish.
I love fish.
Yeah, we do now. He didn't a couple months ago, and for almost 2 years. And I'm like, I want to eat fish. But I like something with me going through his journey, helping him through whatever he's going through to raise his vibration. I came in, I don't even know what vibration I was. And we were probably the same vibration, because that's what I asked the universe for. I said, bring me with someone who is the same vibration as me, that we can just work through this shit. And not, I knew that coming into the true twin flame relationship, it was not going to be easy. There was going to be hardship and turbulences that would test the shit out of us. But it would be in a good way. Like, it wouldn't be like an old codependent relationship. Which is kind of why I went off on your friend Kara Ellis. She was just a shadow. She was part of that shadow mirror that I was doing. I was doing all that mirroring, and she happened to be one of them. I didn't even pick and choose. It just happened. I got thrown into it, and the world, the universe just said, use this as a shadow realm. Use it as a mirror. Don't identify to it, but point out the shadow and see show yourself and write it. And show it to others. And so that's what I started to begin to do, but no one understood the alchemy that I was testing myself at. My alchemy comes through the writing. It comes through the doing of the auto channeling, the auto writing, and allowing myself to purge out, like you did the other day. You just screamed at me, kind of like, I'm not that, and I'm not an idiot, I'm blah, 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 and you, fuck you. And I was like, ha, 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 I know what you're going through, because I did the same shit. Go ahead, project. And then you're like, okay, now that that's over, what the fuck? I did that with myself in my journal. And that's all I had, because he vaguely knew what the fuck I was starting to do. And he's just like, why are you starting wars on Facebook? I'm like, I don't know, because I don't want to do it to the people in my life. I'd rather do it to people I don't really know or care about their existence. But I do, but I don't, But I didn't want to hurt the collective, but I didn't want to hurt I didn't want to make too much chaos, because I knew that's what I am. That's my third gene key as a pearl. I am pure chaos. But even then, I didn't even really know the gene key, so it challenged me.
Wow. Wait, do we share the same gene key on that one?
My pearl is the 3.
That's part of the inner sequence, right?
That's the top sequence. Your life purpose, then it goes to culture, then your pearl's right in the middle of it, and then there's your culture.
Do we have the same pearl?
I don't know. I'd have to relook at your profile.
Later.
I don't remember for you.
Later. We'll keep it moving.
But that's my pearl, so I'm chaos. I am the shadow of chaos when I'm going to the 3D. And if you're a shadow at all, I show that reflection of the shadow. I can't help it. It's just what I become in my natural state. I just form as like a chameleon. I am a true chameleon. I'm either a dark fucking shadow with you or I'm not. I can step into my gift and I can go beyond into the Siddhi, which I always am. My natural state is the Siddhi. It is oneness. It is being with everything and not separating, no duality. I am in the still point of the zero space.
Your audio got quieter for some reason.
That's funny. He is over here doing stuff with.
I've suddenly got all these people in my house, by the way, so it's really funny. Do you hear all these people? I've suddenly got tons of people in the house. I don't know why. They've got people over.
Oh, I didn't even know.
My family.
Okay.
So they're like right outside my door.
That's funny. Well,
yeah.
I send them love.
Oh, thank you.
He's devouring fish over here. It's entertaining to watch this man eat. It's fucking hilarious because he's all like.
I think my love for fish comes from some other lifetime as well, because I just am like with fish. I'll eat them raw. I'll eat them raw. I don't even care.
No, I'll eat sushi, but I won't physically eat the fish raw. No.
I'll eat salmon raw. I'll eat a salmon raw.
Well, it's one of the fish you can eat raw. It's sushi at that point. You just makes sense.
Yeah. My friend sent an Alaskan salmon because she's a fisherman. She's a fisherwoman. She cold packed and mailed Alaskan salmon to us. And I walked into the neighbors, it's like this community house that she lives in and was away from while she was doing that. So she sent them the fish and I walked in and they were preparing to cook it. I didn't even know that it wasn't cooked. I just thought, I was just like, mermaids.
Oh, I gotta love it. I didn't start liking fish. It's like the person I am now. If my ex-husband lived with me, he'd be looking at me like, what the fuck are you? Because in my past, I didn't drink water. I didn't like anything that didn't have flavor. But it had to be bubbly.
Oh.
Soda addicts. Very much soda, juice, anything but water. I would not hardly drink water. Fast food was my life.
Which is like the opposite of your nature now, right?
Huh?
Which is opposite of your nature now, right?
Mm-hmm. So my nature now is totally different. It's shifted. So I'm just saying my old nature. When I was married with when I was married to my ex-husband, that was probably, God, I don't even know now, 7 years ago. My son, as long as my son's age is, that's how long we've been separated, divorced, and whatnot.
So what do you think that was? Like all resistance?
Oh yeah. Fuck yeah, it was unconscious nature. It was, but it was also, I didn't even know it back then what it was because I didn't have the human design knowing, but within my hologenetic profile, my 34th gene key, the shadow of hunger, has always followed me. I've always been very, very picky. I was addicted to sweets because that's the way I got sweetness. I was addicted to, I still can't stand bitter foods, but that's actually, I've learned a natural thing for as a child. They don't want bitter. It's not good for their systems. There's certain vegetables that are actually horrible for kids. So if they're crying their eyes out, begging you not to eat that food, don't force it down their throat. My family always made me have a happy plate and always, eat everything on your plate, even if you're full. You have to stuff your face.
Well, you just got a happy face plate.
Yep. So I never could make a happy face plate. So I always felt like shit. I'm like, sorry, I'm not my cousins. I can never eat or do. I always felt like I couldn't ever perform the way they wanted me to. No matter what, it went against my true nature. And I has, since being a child, have always gone with my true nature. My family always knew me as stubborn and willful, and that I did not bend to them. That's because I'm not here to bend to them. I'm here to be a rebel.
I understand.
Let that go.
I understand.
Like, I don't agree with that. And it wasn't, so much as me wanting to go against the grind. It's just, it's something within me told me that's not me. And I'm going to be me. even in school, I got picked on all the time because I was like, I'm me, but I was a very conditioned little me into Christian, you know, dogma and my mom's way.
Yes.
I was becoming a little mini mommy, and I'm a mom now, but but I don't identify to my mom's ways anymore, and that's why a lot of our relationship broke apart, because she wanted me to be like you. You're Melinda. No, they're like, you're Kim. I'm like, no. How are you calling me that? Who is Kim? What is this Kim? What am I supposed to be as Kim? And I finally started thinking about that after my divorce, and I finally said, fuck everybody. I'm going to do what I want to do.
You're not really a Kim. I mean, you're Kymberly, but that's that Lee part on there that
Kymberly.
It's that Lee part on there changes so much about the name for me with you. But I could never call you Kim. It just doesn't even seem right.
I don't mind the Kymberly, but I also don't identify. The only reason I will still identify that name is so that people will understand I'm still Kymberly, but Trinity.
Right.
One, and Trinity saying you will change your name. You will be Trinity because that is your true nature.
Yes.
So I will take that name, but I don't have $100 to go pay for the government to know my true name. I don't fucking care that much. I'm
right. Fuck that shit.
In a system and be recorded as something. I'm, you know, born Kymberly K. Kula. Grew up with the people making fun of me because of that KKK. Kymberly K. Kula. I promise you my parents aren't racist. But my Opa is. I can just start a whole comedy on my family. I'm not going to go into it. You know, I'd make jokes about it now, but they would take offense.
I like the name Kymberly K. Kula. It sounds awesome altogether. I mean, my full name is Melinda Joy Snyder.
Right. I still love my name, and that's probably why I haven't changed it. I'm still Brooks, like my ex-husband's last name. That is one thing I want to change, but I haven't because the courts messed up on it for one. And I'm like, I don't have $100 to go back to my maiden name, which is Kula. And I actually honor my last name. I love my last name because it means Kula yoga. It's like a form of yoga, and it's, if you look it up, it's a light to others. It's a blessing. You know, it's
yeah, it's beautiful.
It's a beautiful name, Kula, and it has Hawaiian background, but it comes from my Germanic background, and
very interesting.
So I've researched in depthly who I truly am, what I took on as a role in this life, and what my blueprint is. I don't want to abandon it. We're not here to abandon who we are. That's what I'm here to be a show as. I'm not abandoning my old self. It's becoming a part of the new.
Yes, what I see in both you and I also coming through is that it's like, you know, before the Germans became a modern society, they were pagans. They were tree worshipping pagans.
Precisely.
And I feel that there's like the old goddess spirit of the pagan Celtic Germans that is coming through and expressing itself in us.
Trinity.
What? Mm-hmm.
You know, the Celtic goddess is the mother, maiden, and the crone. She's the original Trinity, and that's what came to me when at first I thought it was Father, Maiden, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. It also is the mother, maiden, and the crone. I had to learn both the masculine and feminine sides.
Yes, the mother and the father.
The mother, father, Lord, and the lady, and they both exist in their supreme Lord. But
absolutely.
So that's where I came to the Trinity. I'm like, well, it's always, you know, and they always told me you are the daughter, you are our daughter Trinity. And then I started learning that goes even deeper. I'm like, they said, don't identify to that. You all will have that name. You all are my Trinity children. You're all a child of the Creator. And so I couldn't identify, but I couldn't not take accountability for
not identify, embody.
So they told me, you know, you will take this to teach others.
Yes, it's not identity. It's not, I do not identify, embody.
Let go of the identity. And that's what Isis first taught me. I actually read it in my book.
Nice.
And I've worked from, I left my fear of
I love Isis.
Me too.
She's incredible.
of astrology and all that stuff that Christianity tells you, ooh, that's evil, stay away from it.
Right.
All the time, because it is
It's just trying to keep those secrets buried.
Yep, they are. And it's stuff you can utilize to work with yourself and go on inner journeys. And it's like, I hate that I can't use it with my family. I hate, my resources of telling them what truth and what God says to me. They don't want to hear my testimony because it's not aligned with their Christian. But it's,
right. That fear tells them stay away, stay away, stay away.
And I had to fight that fear so much so that I had to let go of my family to stop fearing it. Because their fears just only kept, because
they swirl in your fields because you're so interconnected with them.
Exactly. So I'm just going to show this to you read just a brief part of it because we're talking about it. But let me find it real quick.
No, real truth goes beyond fear. It doesn't have to fear anything. It can listen and be in the presence of anything without cringing.
Right. So it was this card. It's Goddess as a name that first came to me, and that's when I was learning that there's these other benevolent beings. There's so many of them here to help us. So many guides of all forms. Just use everything to learn from. Do it as a learning experience, and embody their story, but you have to transmute it. You have to transform it into something greater for them. These beings, they cause great annihilation upon us. They need to be honored for what they came here to do. Now we're all turning into light. We all have that opportunity, and we have to bring them into our body and do that in our own solar plexus, through our own hearts and our own minds. And then they can transcend. And it must be a collective thing, because otherwise there's still fragments left behind. We're so defragmented, like a computer. We have to unfuck ourselves through ourselves.
And something I've been really working to clarify with what I've been revealing is that this kind of light has no opposition to the dark.
No, it's part of the dark and light are one.
They're one, because darkness is on the light spectrum. It's only illusion to us that it's darkness because we don't have the hawk eyes that can actually see in that. Right. Can actually view it as light. Whereas the upper realm beings, they look into that darkness and they're like, oh, they're like an owl in the night.
Right. I love owls.
Me too.
They're one of my
symbol of Athena.
Huh?
Symbol of Athena.
It is. I love Athena.
Me too.
Of her today and what I was channeling, so that's awesome. That's actually perfect, because it's all about the warrior right now.
Yes.
Goddess right now. Not being a martyr is a big thing, and I'm gonna end up talking about Joan of Arc, because she's one I always didn't identify to, but I felt very strongly because I came here to do this. The Malachi was talking about today, how in her past life, she was actually a martyr. She didn't do what she should have done, and instead she went out and started being an emotional dumbass and then got killed for it. We take emotion out of it, but we use it to our advantage. We are the torque of emotion. We don't let it rule us. We rule it. It comes through us. It will always be there in our human design, but we learn to work with it and mold it.
That's interesting. That actually helps me understand someone I know who's an avatar of Joan of Arc.
That's awesome. We all have that fragment there. We all have.
His Liv's life, she's very cold cut about it. She's actually removed the emotion from it, and she's just like, men and women should just live in different places. In a story, if men want to be violent and hateful towards women, they can go live with all the men.
Vice versa. Women are just this hatred, because of the oppression, they've become out of balance, and now they're trying to rule the men. And there needs to be a middle. No one needs to be trying to rule over the other. No hierarchy. We're one and the same.
She's convinced that the answer is for us to just live in different places.
No. See,
I know, and I don't feel the same way, but I listen to her and I just let her express herself, and I hold acceptance towards how she feels, because I know that this is just part of her cycle. As part of her cycle, because this is where Joan of Arc is at with that. what you just said.
Right now, she needs to. She's going through
Mhm.
karmic lessons. And that's what actually today we'll talk about. Because I talk about how I was also in past life, I was Joan of Arc, and I'm that here and now. And we all, in a way, are, but it's a fragment of who we are. And that is actually perfect. Why I want to read this. I've been wanting to read this from this goddess tarot deck for a while to people, because it's what began my journey, and it's what made me understand fragments and the 10,000 names, or the 10,000, you know, beings of God. You know, basically, God is so many fragments, and here we're coming back into one body. You're going to get Gracie's stuff. Okay.
I'm just trying to see if I can turn this up because it's, I don't know why you're quiet.
Can you hear me now?
Not really. I mean, I can hear you, but it's a lot quieter than it was before, and I don't know why.
That's weird.
I just got a lot of people in the background, so.
Oh, that's probably why. It's probably just because you got stuff in the background.
Right, maybe it's trying to mute something to.
Might make it go quieter or something. Because try putting, while I'm reading, maybe try putting yourself on mute.
You know what? I figured it out. I'm gonna get my headphones.
Okay.
I just had like all these children in the house. It's really funny.
Perfect time. Love you.
You can go ahead and start if you want. I'll get situated.
Okay. So this speaks of the goddess of 10,000 names, which is endless emanations of the priestess, or the god, you know, goddess, priestess, whatever word you want to put there. To me, fine. And it starts off saying, Isis, with many names, forms, associations, and expressions, is referred to as the goddess of 10,000 names. A name holds power. It defines and energizes or limits. The names, faces, and roles that you play are just one part of your being, yet you exist beyond them, beloved initiates, as a vast being. You are currently realizing that you are not limited to previous identities you held. Instead, you are becoming more of your whole self, enjoying the uncovering of even more of who you are. Just like the Lady Isis, you are a multifaceted, multidimensional being. It is most helpful at this phase in your path that you learn not to attach to roles or identities that may have once held great importance for you or others relating to you. It does not mean that you must cease to release to that. It does not mean that you must cease to relate to that name or role, more that you are realizing it is only a part of you, and there is even more of you wishing to express itself now. The role you are needing to move beyond might be mother, executive, healer, good person, strong person, always in control, daughter, teacher or guru, grandmother, and so on. There is nothing wrong with these roles, and you may still express part of your vast self through such roles, but you are at a significant point in your inner development where you are learning that these are not who you are, but simply expressions of the eternal, endless self, uncontainable by any human's descriptions. It can be tricky to avoid getting stuck in roles that otherwise prescribe for you or expect of you, and yet your self-definition will become wider and your experience of yourself will be more real and fulfilling if you are discovering more of you, beyond the person you have considered yourself to be up until now. For this to happen, you must be willing to allow the many and varied faces of your being, both dark and the light, your 10,000 names to begin to emerge in your awareness, to realize that you are more than you're currently imagining yourself to be. This opens up tremendous freedom of choice and possibility in life. This can be both exhilarating and terrifying. Trust that the self is, in essence, divine love, and there is great joy in its unfoldment, even if there are challenges to let go of the fears that have held us trapped in certain roles and identities at times. The call to let go of old identity is very strong, leading you to this moment in time, when a new, more whole, fulfilling, and truthful sense of identity awaits you. Any fear or struggle that you are going through to allow this to happen, beloved, will be spiritually repaid to you, multiplied in so many ways. There is nothing to lose except old limitations and so much wonder and joy to be gained. It is, this is where the Oracle had got me, because I'd gotten it in the time and moment many years ago in like 2014 when I started working with these cards. It says that when I came to end up finding my name Trinity in 2015, it was probably summer around close to the Lionsgate where I found out I was Trinity, and I came through the 888 gateway, and it just was an epiphany. I was just like, whoa. They're like, you're going to be a massive ripple effect. I'm like, okay, Trinity. And then I started like, what is Trinity? I'm like, then I started looking in history. What is all the Trinity in history? And there's so much that I was like bombarded. I didn't even know where to begin. I didn't know what to do. And I'm like, what is my name? They're like, Trinity. I'm like, that can't be my name. That's a whole vast of things. Like, that's in Christianity. And that's where I was most limited to, because I didn't really do enough history research. I didn't really know where to go. I didn't think you could go to Google and just find it. And I'm like, wow, that would have been a really great resource if I took it. But I went to a metaphysical store and I was like, you guys want to give me a name, which I'm about to read about it. They're like, we're going to give you a name. And I'm like, what's my name? I wasn't listening to them. Trinity! And I'm like, no, I'm not that. And they're like, Urgh. So I'm like, show me who I am. I thought I was Iris at one point, the goddess of chaos, which I am, but beyond that.
They're like, don't box yourself in. They're like, don't box yourself into chaos, sister.
Yeah, right. He's writing chaos as I'm saying it. We do that all the time.
I just find that's such a paradox. Don't box yourself into chaos, sister.
I know it. Don't trap yourself with yourself. Ah! No, so I found that, and I've written it in my About Me in my blog, but I'm just like, I discovered, I had a correlation with Amaterasu, and I was a Yambe, and I helped her see her into the mirror and see her own sun, and see her radiant self and come out of the cave. That's what I'm here to do with any goddess or any man that wants to truly face that you are the sun. You're radiant, and you need to be out to help the harvest, to help people flourish. Without you, everything's dying.
Mm-hmm.
And hide. And there's a huge story. People can go read about all that, but I started just bits and pieces. Fractals kept coming back to me, and they're like, go more beyond that. You're much greater. You're all of it. And I'm like, I had a lot of past lives. They're like, yeah, you had all of the past lives. So did I.
Right.
I'm like, what? No. Okay. So that's like a lot to download. That now I can explain it because it's experiential. But this is where I began. And, it started with me looking for one name. And a lot of people get lost in the track and wheel of finding that name and identifying to every little name. And then they go through a process with it. But I learned to go through a process, take that in, embody it, and keep it. Kind of like I took all the bits and pieces of those souls and past lives and I brought it into one. So
right.
I've brought my heart back together. All those bits and pieces is truth. It is what I am. It is what I had to face. And that's what everybody has to do. You may think you identify to Joan of Arc or to Isis or to anything. What?
I was just going to relate to you with that, because when I was first going through my process of reawakening, I went to a seer, happened to be Pamela.
We both went to Pam.
I know. But she looked at me and she was just like, well, where do you want to start? Because you're everything. And I was just like,
I didn't even get
I was like, I understand everyone's everything, right? And she's like, yeah, but you're
literally
everything. You're literally everything. She's like, how far back do you want to go?
Like,
And she's like, we could be here all day. We could be here for days. And I was like, okay, well, tell me what you think is most relevant for me to hear right now.
right.
And she's like, well, I feel that you may want to start with your Inanna and Hathor lineage.
Yeah, I went through Inanna too. All of the god, like I said, I'm like every time there's a story with every goddess, and they'll continue to be, because every fractal is still coming into my knowing and into remembrance of our collective healing, and that's what I was going to get into.
And Inanna ended up leading me to Lilith.
See, yep. And
which she was the only one who could like crack that whip.
Lilith is amazing. Like, I didn't even understand how great she is until Malachi actually started having her incubate within me. And I'm like, so I went through everything you're going through. That's why I was able to go through and not be so as much in hurt when you first lashed out and you left for a little bit. You're like, I'm not doing this. You're gonna like, you didn't like me. And I was like, no one's gonna like me because I'm gonna get rid of their freaking identity. Ooh! But it doesn't scare me, but it's terrifying. Like the book said, it is fucking terrifying. But you have to go through, and I already know it. That's why I've been able to hold so much space for Malachi. I've been able to hold space for the whole fucking world because I've already done it. I've been through it. I know how terrifying it is. I know, but I couldn't explain the process until the textbooks have come to me. The books of the Akash have been actually written and made into something to work with. And that took other fractals of myself, like Richard Rudd and other authors. And, you know, Alana Fairchild's a big one. Me and her, I'm just like, girl, I will meet her someday. That's just, I'm like, that's on my bucket list. I'm like, everything's phenomenal. That's who Isis is. I learned from is I work with self-synthesized gene keys with Paul Selig and Alana Fairchild, and I don't go outside that because it just fucking works. Like, they have all the material as far as I'm concerned. If anybody else has more material, I'll look into other books. I'm never unwilling to read. You know, I love reading, but I also gauge what I'm reading. Is this something that's going to help my consciousness, or is this going to keep me stuck in old patterns? And a lot of people are afraid to read now, but they're not trusting their innate intelligence to tell them yes or no. I'm learning that just as much as anyone else. You can use multiple ways of divination, but I've learned to trust. And whatever I'm told to divinate with, I do it. And if that's a book that's brought to my awareness, I'll check it out and I'll see what is there for me. There's always something there, even if it's just one line in the book. You know, I'm just like, sometimes it's a whole fucking book. Like,
and you notice that book is hot. That has a heat to it. It's like burning your eyes. It's burning in front of you, and you're like,
it pulls you, and you're like, yes. Or it's been shown to you 3 times in a row in a certain sequential order, and you're like, okay, I'm getting. If you get the message more than 3 times, that's a go get that fucking book, or go get that whatever it is leading you to. Go talk to that person. I get names multiple times, whether it's on a license plate or it comes into my consciousness. Like, you know, Frank, who came on earlier today, I was seeing that name months before he even got a hold of me. Like, he was in my awareness. I knew who he was, but not enough where I knew which Frank to go to. I'm like, who the fuck is Frank? I'm dealing with a Fred and Nick.
Quite literally, he was like
Fred,
a faceless person dropping in, and I'm like, me and Malachi are like, who's this?
Right. I'm like, what the fuck? So certain things come to me, and it's not till like weeks later that I'm like, that's what Frank is, or that's who that is. This is what that is. And I have these revelations, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense. And then it all aligns. And Frank turned out he was needing, you know, some encouragement or guidance or whatever, and he needed a man to connect to, like Malachi. And I've been telling Malachi, this guy needs to talk to another guy. Like, I just know when he needs to talk to these other guys. He's talking to Frank right now. And I'm just like, you need to talk to these dudes. They're not for me. I'm talking to who I know I need to be, but I can't help these guys. You need to help these guys. He's like, he's so introverted too. And I'm just like, I just shoved them.
Well, and he's always
And
been
they get
like, like, must friend with woman.
yes, must be friends
Who
with
screw all these
send
fucker
that
guys.
person to me because they need help because he can do help with the knowledge aspect. I'm wisdom. I'm I'm the wisdom. He's the knowledge, and it works. But you need us both because I go wisdom. They're like, prove it, okay? Go to knowledge. I'm not knowledge. I'm innate. So it's a paradox between us, but that's the true flame. That is how.
Ironically, I've had to go through the process of transcending my knowledge seeking in order for things to make sense again, because I've been getting so much of that I think it's the 15th gene key where it's saying,
Dang it, now you're getting
you need to exhaust yourself on the seeking until you're ready to let the dullness permeate you. And ironically, that is chaos. What's behind the dullness is the chaos. And when you're ready to let that chaos calibrate you, then that's what's going to reset your field. And you won't be drinking coffee no more, motherfucker. I'm calling myself a motherfucker lovingly, so don't worry. You're quiet now. What happened?
I muted myself because you started getting really quiet. I'm
Oh,
trying to
okay. I see.
I forgot I was even muted. But it's okay. I'm going to read this real quick.
Yeah.
Finish this thing part. No. You know. I know, so you know.
Okay, when you're done reading that part, I'm going to take a really fast bathroom break, okay? Because I drank a whole thing of tea.
Okay, Malachi says no, but I say okay. So, father, mother, confusion.
Who is talking, Dad? Who the fuck is talking now? I know.
I'm lurking in the darkness. Other way.
Shadows right now.
Or he's tiny.
No, I know it's him talking, but I'm saying who's talking through him.
Oh, who's talking through you? Who's saying no?
Aries today.
Who?
Goddess of chaos.
Goddess of chaos.
Okay.
I get it mixed up with Aries. He says Aries, and I'm like, Aries? No, is what I say.
Maybe it's because she wants me to pee on him or something, you know? No, I'm kidding.
Get him a nice golden shower.
Sorry. Oh, man, sorry. I just segued into her world. Sorry.
No, that's where you go. That's my world where I say that's what she said way too much.
I'm like, did I really just let that fly out of my mouth?
I do all the time. It's called awareness Tourette's.
This is where my DID with melaninfa comes in.
Right. All right, I just have a little bit to read. Okay. This oracle indicates that there's a spiritual name waiting for you in the inner planes, which there is for everybody, and that's kind of how I found Trinity. I don't identify anything, but they're for everybody. They'll be coming into a certain fractal aspect of themselves, and they'll keep doing this. But there's one in specific that they will feel in love with. That, you know, someday they may want to change their name to it or whatever, but they're not going to completely identify to it. It's just going to become their new name in the new world. You know, it's a new
frequency
badge.
It's just a frequency that we're embodying for the sake of humanity and for ourselves.
Yes, for the whole. And
yes.
Whereas Kymberly was a small identity, and she's merging into chose to be Trinity. It's like renewing your name. It's just like it's a new baptism for yourself, you know.
Right, we're not going to be choosing names for our children in the same way anymore.
Right.
And we're going to accept that the names change over time. That a child might be born this, but then they, over time, are going to be declaring their names as it's this revolving door of
in the here and now, and that the conscious families beginning, and they can feel into the soul when they're pregnant and before the birth and say, what do you want to be named? I innately started doing that with my kids. Grace got her name, but it's divine for her. And she's like, she's asked if she could change it to Karma at one point. I was just laughing. I'm like, you can be Karma upon the world. Go for it.
That's like the opposite of Grace.
But
That's the opposite of Grace right there.
I resisted Grace's name in the beginning. Her father chose that name. I wanted to name her Anastasia or Trinity Nevaeh Brooks. I wanted to name her Trinity. But the universe even said, nope, you're not giving her that name. And Ben came and stepped in and said, how about Grace? When we were going to just name her Elizabeth Jade. But I had realized that Elizabeth was reoccurring in her family, and I didn't want to use a name already used. I wanted something new and something different. Grace, I didn't even know was my deceased great-grandmother, and I learned that a couple of years ago after the fact that we named her Grace.
Wow, interesting.
So her name is divine, but if she wants to change it and her soul tells her change it later on, I'm not going to stop her. I'm like, if you want to be Karma, you be Karma. That's your journey. But we named her Grace, and so she's Grace, and it's been a huge, that's why it's Trinity Grace. We're Trinity Grace.
Sometimes Grace has to start out as Karma.
Yep, exactly. And so she's a little tiny Karma ball, but she's Grace for being 11.
She's a teenager. She's a teenager. It's perfect that Grace expresses itself as a teenager as Karma.
Yep. And that's what she is in her 11-year-old body. She is Karma right now. And she's like phenomenal in her growth. I'm just seeing myself grow, and I started changing myself for the fact that I didn't want my kids to repeat the same shit I was. I knew they came here to be karma free, and I knew they were not supposed to go through what I have gone through. Like, I just innately knew that I was gonna be the role model they needed. And back in 2009-ish, I was starting to realize I was not being that role model that I wanted to be. I was not being my divine self, and I wasn't expressing it in the ways that I really knew I could have otherwise been. That would have been much, a lot better for me, a lot better for those around me, and for the whole. I just innately had this knowing, but it took me a while for I had to grow up. I was young, and I started things so early unconsciously, like we all do. But now I'm conscious of what I did, and I forgave myself for all those things. And I thought at one point I was, my daughter was gonna, if I didn't marry my ex-husband within 3 days, that's why we got married, that my daughter would be an abomination. And I'm like, no, I was under all those conditionings that I had to really clear out. And it's been a long journey, but I had to start seeing her as a reflection of me and nothing more. And when she acted out, that was my inner self not being okay. And if I wasn't okay, God knows she's not going to be okay. If she sees mom as sad, mad, she's going to end up being sad, mad. She's going to project that. Our children are going to be, exactly little replicas that, we can be something divine as an expression and as a integrity hit me. That's what was hitting me when I was becoming a mother. I'm like, I need to live an integral life. My mom didn't have integrity. She had a dysfunctional relationship, still is creating dysfunctional relationships, doesn't even know it. And I'm just like, I'm getting out of that. I'm not going to keep creating dysfunction. And I don't want that curse is what I called it. I don't want that abuse extended to my children. I don't want them to have to experience that trauma and abuse that I did. And, on a whatever level. And I experienced a lot. I may have not been raped, but on emotional, spiritual, and I consented physically, ignorantly and naively, thinking that was what love was. But I was in an illusion. It was just my own mind matrix playing games with me. I was truly abusing myself in all those reflections, and I had to come to that realization. And that's where I'm like, in the shadow realms or in the mirror realm, it's not hard to be there anymore, because I already see what I was, and now I see what I created in my life. And when people say you create your own reality, it's fucking deep and seriously true. You do. And until you frequently take accountability and actually stop separating being, you know, the roles that we just spoke of in the card, you know, the various roles we take on. When we can be all of that and still love ourselves, that's what matters. And that's how you find your true name, is when you're in that homeostasis with self. Was not in homeostasis with self. I was beating the masculine up all the time. I was telling my ex-husband, you're a piece of shit. You're arrogant. You're this. I was always thinking his negative qualities as an Aries, not even fucking knowing zodiacal or anything. You know, I was just a Christian judging everything, thinking it has to be this or that. Those judgments went into him. He got emotionally fucked. He was already dysfunctional with the family and his father. His dad's a martyr, which is what's perfect about talking about what I'm going to be later on. But martyr energy all over. Woo, woe is me, and very self-righteous, talking, you know, talking the Christian righteous stuff, but not walking the walk. And he thinks his discipline is what would get his kids to adhere to his rule, whatever, you know. It's the masculine.
Right. Masculine, what I noticed about the masculine is that and this can also come through the mother, by the way.
Yes.
Masculine, it's like they hide behind us. They hide their lack of integrity with themselves and their lack of being able to come into true alignment with themselves behind authority.
Right.
And they use fear to enforce it.
And we don't need to do fear anymore. That's what I'm starting to teach people. You don't need to be fear. There's authority, but then you don't blame, shame, guilt, and all that bullshit of just, you know, of society's expectations. You leave the expectation station of that shadows, and you rise them out of the victim consciousness. I had to, over the years, take myself out of that deep mire of victim consciousness that I had dug myself. And my ex-husband was always telling me, you're abusing me. And I scoffed at him like, are you fucking kidding me? You're the abuser. I didn't see that I was truly the narcissist, and he had to fucking deal with me. And I was a version of my mother, and I didn't know I was a narcissist until a couple of years ago when I was writing doing it, you know, one of my journals. I was just deep into doing healing with myself, going, what is this? What do I need to fix on me?
Well, that's our 10th gene key that we share. That's our 10th gene key we share, the self-obsession. And that's what makes us turns us into the bodhisattva when it's transcended.
Yep. And I'm choosing to transcend that. And yeah, I look like a narcissist, but I'm truly not. I'm one that's actually willing to help you see where you are being a narcissist. I'm willing to admit where I was, where I'm not anymore. And I know I'm not, because I'm now here to be that. It's what's called the healthy narcissist, which there is one. Me. I see my shit. I'm willing to take all full accountability. And it took me losing my ex-husband, losing my family for a while, losing everything, to the point where I just felt like I should just kill myself, because I was like, if I'm hurting people this much, if I'm that big of a problem, why the fuck do I have a life? Why the fuck am I here? I was this close to suicide and almost killed myself multiple times. My family thought I was just insane. They tried to take my kids. You know, I went through hell. I went through what you call the dark night of the soul, and that's what my book is about. I'm ready to, and here I am stepping into my true self, my divinity, into Trinity, which this oracle told me, you'll find your name and you're going to do it. And I'm like, fine. I'd rather not die like I did in 2012. I'd rather not die. When I, you know, like I almost did when I lost the next man that I fell in love with after my ex-husband abandoned me. You know, he killed himself to suicide. That catalyzed me. If he didn't kill himself, he would not be a guardian angel right now. He wouldn't have been able to go into the light without me and Malachi. That is truth. His family his family didn't know me. I was in his life for 4 months before he killed himself. But he was my true flame. He was my true love. We were literally, I didn't even know what a twin flame was. I had no consciousness of that world. But I knew I was looking for a true love. And I felt it with him. It was instant. But then, you know, certain stupid human things happened, and we both failed at love, and we both felt like we were failing at love. He killed himself, and I went like, what the fuck? I want to change the world so people stop feeling they need to kill themselves to feel free.
Mhm.
Where is the love is what I was catalyzed with. I'm
I'm
like,
going through that with a friend right now. You know, Sarah Buck. She is talking openly on her Facebook about wanting to kill herself, and though, like, she's tried so many times to kill herself, but something in her inner child's not letting it happen.
that's what happened with me. I at every moment I wanted to and I couldn't. I was just, something within me was like,
She's living in hell. She's living in such horrible hell right now. And I'm just like, I had a breakdown today of like just crying and screaming for 2 hours, like screaming at the demons surrounding her, telling them to back the fuck off and give her a chance to like breathe in this labor.
But they're doing their job.
They are, and I have to respect them. It's like I have to have something to feel angry at.
We always want to reach for something to blame, but we can't. That's what the paradox is. You have to surrender and love. And she does too. A lot of what's happening to her is because she's not surrendering to the love of herself. She has to forgive.
She's not, and she's hating herself because it's like she's so attached to her victimization.
I was too.
It's the only thing that's offered her safety.
Right.
It's the only thing that feels safe to her.
It's the ego's wanting to live, but it's really it's on the precipice of dying. That's where
Yes.
the put on ring of life and death gets very muddy. It's very
yes. And so I'm just praying a lot for her right now. I'm just praying a lot for her because my nickname for her is Nova because she's like an imploding star. She's an imploding star. She's imploding so that she can explode.
Me too. I did it. So maybe she can join us and we can help her rise out of that depression. There's a lot of women right now going through that. Not just women, there's a lot of people. And that's
some people are just more silent about it.
They don't feel like they can say anything. That's why I'm saying your voice, tell your story, no matter how deep and dark it is. I'm willing to hear it because fuck, no one else is willing to listen to mine.
Right. Write your fucking suicide stories on your wall. Write how you want to tell yourself. Thank you for being open enough and honest enough to tell me you want to die on your wall.
To tell me your trauma and not having everybody assume that you can tell when someone is seeking attention and when someone is truly feeling like I want to die because no one's listening to me. I want to die because I need them to believe my story.
Even if they are fucking doing it narcissistically, still do it.
And that's
do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do.
You're allowed to be that. You know, we're there to transcend us. And, you know, we all have to see that narcissist. It exists in all of us. No matter what.
Embrace it. Embrace that fucking narcissist like no fucking anyone's business.
You can fight off the dark or whatever you want to say it. However, you don't send more evil. That empowers it. You send it love and it cancels it out and disrupts it entirely. It's like taking Jesus and asking Jesus, can you hug that demon for me? And you become the light, you hug the fucking demon, and you take it into your own heart and it goes, it doesn't even matter where it goes. It becomes one again and it forgives itself through you. Because
that's interesting you say that. That's so interesting you say that, Trinity, because Angelica was tuning into you guys yesterday on that post she commented, and she said she got this vision of you guys as being such pure beings, and she said that when she saw Malachi, what she saw in her heart, she started speaking light language, and she said she saw a vision of Yeshua in his heart doing exactly that, hugging demons.
That's all we can do. They need love too. They're tired of being shit on. They're ready to
we're fucking shitting all over them. They're like our massive toilet for this dimension.
It is. And then everybody's like, oh, fuck you, dark. Fuck you, demons. Fuck you, aspects of self.
And they're like, you have no idea what we're doing for you.
Fuck you. It's them right now.
You have
I think we're both benevolent and as above, so below. There's a lot of below with us because they've been doing it with us. They haven't gone anywhere. They're still here on Earth, and they're just as fucking stuck as we are. They haven't gone into the light. And that's why there's poltergeists. That's why we're being fucked with. That's why everybody's confused, because they won't see that you need to see them and let them go. And let go of the persona that you've held towards them for God knows 26,000 fucking years that we've been evolving here. It's time to truly fucking evolve.
Right. And the revelation I had recently was that evil does not come from darkness. It comes from the distortion of light around fear. And so with that definition, evil comes from a shadow which is projected into the dark. It's light being projected in the dark that causes evil. So with that being said, they in that realm get bound by our karma into these patterns of inversions of light. And all they are doing is reacting to that. You're muted.
It's justfully so too. And we're stuck in this cause and effect against one another reaction.
Yeah.
It's literally that we're literally creating the Harry Potter series. Voldemort against Harry Potter. Let's just fucking just slam them together and say fucking stop. That's where I'm at. Bam. And Malachi had actually a vision and dream of me, seeing me like as this big large being, one sphere here, and I just clasped and went like this.
I saw that gorilla goddess just coming out.
You what?
What's her name? I saw your gorilla goddess coming out. Who was that?
My what?
Your gorilla goddess.
Gorilla goddess. I don't know what the gorilla goddess is.
He was telling me about her. He had a name for her and everything.
I'll have to ask him. He's getting Grace some food right now.
I just saw her coming out. I was like, whoa. I just saw her.
Elephant. I'm a little bit of every part of the freaking animal species.
I just saw this big orangutan coming out and be like, bam, bam, bam.
He told me the other day, you're small and as a mouse, but you stomp around like an elephant. I'm like, yeah, that's about right. Because Ganesha's in my womb, and he likes to have the freaking, he's the man of new beginnings. Crush this concrete shit.
Yeah, my grandmother, my father's mother, who a lot of the programming was coming through her lineage, and she was very small. She was only like 5'2", and she was a spitfire.
Right?
She was intense woman. She had some fire. And everyone in my family says that of everyone in my family, I'm the one who takes after her.
That's funny because my grandmother Grace, my grandmother Pat says the same thing about me with Grace. She's like, you two are free spirits. Her mom died of alcoholism, I think, or something happened tragic with her. She was an alcoholic. It wasn't a really good experience for my grandma growing up. But you know, her mom Grace, she kept saying she was a free spirit. She didn't bend for no one. She did her thing, and I'm the same way, but I'm not. When she told me that story, and my growing up with my dad as an alcoholic and with a bunch of Germans who all drink and they won't admit they're also alcoholics. But they are.
Mine were German Mennonites.
Fun. But yeah, so they all got their shit, and I was like, I've tried drinking, I've tried some drugs, and she
said, I've tried drinking, I've tried drugs.
Not my thing. My dad let me try a cigarette when I was 9, and instead of inhaling it, I swallowed the smoke. That's the worst experience in your life. You don't want your kids to smoke, don't teach them how. Just let them swallow it, and they'll know never to touch one again, because it'll burn them. And that's what's great about fire and smoke. It burns your eyes and it burns your throat if you play with That's just an innate thing there. But
Let your child pick up the hot pan. Just do it.
oh, that's Gracie did it. I told her, don't touch that pan. It's red hot, and the red means it's on fire and you'll burn yourself. She's just like, touches the stove. Ah! 2 minutes later, we're going to the hospital because she's got 3rd-degree burns on her hand.
Oh, fuck. That's an intense one.
Not to do that. I won't ever do it again. I promise.
Wow.
Just
That's an intense burn.
To tell. She's like, you're gossiping about me.
Uh-oh.
I'm gossiping about myself too. No, but that's how kids are innocent though. Like they have to learn the hard way or the hot way, you know? It's just part of our innate cellular learning. And it's just,
Yeah.
once you learn that the thing's surface is hot, you don't touch it anymore. But you had to touch it just because of curiosity. Often kills the cat, but you're lucky we got 9 lives, okay? That's how I kind of live. But anyways, I'm going to read.
Was there something else you wanted to make sure we read today?
Yes.
Oh, I'm going to wait to the bathroom. We got, 30 more minutes?
Yeah,
or are you going to go till 7?
We can go
30 today?
We have a couple of things to read. I have to read my thing and finish reading this.
Okay. Do you mind if you start reading? I can always come back later and listen to that part.
Okay.
And then I'll be right back.
All right, sounds good. All right, so we're all going within the inner planes, waiting for our spiritual name to come to us. Mine is Trinity. But back when I was experiencing this card, I took it literally and I actually started implementing it into my life. The name may come from various spiritual traditions as a name of a deity or a sacred mantra, or it could be an actual name that you can sound out and use in meditation or sacred temple activities with spiritual groups. That name may also simply be a note, an inner awareness of a sound, and it can be sourced by going into your heart, almost felt more than heard or spoken. This spiritual name is going to come to you to help you deepen your connection with yourself. Like any other identity, it is just a representation for a time. You do not need to pick up your old life and search for an entirely new one unless your heart deeply guides you with peace and neutrality that this is what is needed for your spiritual growth. More often than not, what this spiritual name offers you is a chance to begin to loosen your grip on your old identity, not throw it away completely, and sense yourself in a more expanded light. Whether you consciously and easily receive your spiritual name in meditation or dream state, or through a healing or conversation with another initiate, or whether it remains a mystery, trust that it is in your heart, calling you to recognize more of your true self. If you have a spiritual name, this oracle is guidance to not become too attached to that identity either. Names are always of knowing a being, but they are not the being. This can be hard for us to take on board in a culture that loves to label and therefore understand everything. For the initiate, however, accepting mystery is a part of the spiritual journey into the divine self. If you have felt constrained by a role, name, or identity and are wishing for assistance in growing beyond it, or if you have sensed a new role or identity coming to you into greater expression and would love some divine help in that growth, this oracle, me, and of course Isis and anything that you use to connect, indicates the help you need is already with you, urging your growth from within. There's a little incantation I want to add. I'm not going to do the whole ritual of the spirit. Mm-hmm. If people want to come to me and have that done with them and we can go through the process, they can. I take donations and kind of like where I'm moving in life to be here for the collective. But there's a small incantation of the Endless Goddess. This prayer will help invoke a spiritual name if you wish to receive one. You just have to be open to how that name can come to you. It may be through unexpected sources, which you will just know that the name is for you at this time. Be in your heart and trust your intuitive recognition of the name will come to you at the perfect time and in the perfect way for you. The incantation below will also help you shift and release identities and forms that serve you no longer, to be replaced by new identities and forms that will help you grow spiritually. Isis, Maha Isis, Isis of 10,000 nominations. Isis, Maha Isis, Isis of endless emanation. I live my true self in all its glory. I now release outdated story. I let go of who I used to be. I let go of all my history. I step forward into a new me, blossoming beyond identity. I receive the name of my myself newborn. I now let go of all that is outworn. Isis, Maha Isis, Isis of 10,000 names and more. Isis, Maha Isis, bless me with self-knowledge pure. And that's that. And that began my journey. I hope it will help everybody else begin theirs in a neutral stance with self, with identity, with losing identity and stepping into the metamorphosis process.
Thank you.
Well, thank you too. You've been with me on my journey. You helped me through it. And you know, Pamela's initiation at the Sphinx it really expanded me. I hope someday can kind of come out of that fear, that bubble that she's in.
Yeah.
And or, you know, just expand into the greater being.
She's part of she's our soul.
She's part of us.
Yeah.
And she'll always be with me. Pamela has always been part of my journey, and her channelings expanded my perceptions and out of that fear. Her channel of Jesus of Nazareth got me to understand Jesus on a whole new Gnostic level than I was conditioned to believe as a Christian. And then her channel of Mary Magdalene and Magdalene telling me, you're the oracle seer. We've always been with each other. And Isis being the same, and them being sister energies. They're one.
Oh yeah.
Name. They're the 10,000 names of they're Magdalene.
Right.
Here to really change the world, and that's why I'm introducing myself kind of similar to a being like Lee Carroll or Cryon. Like, I don't want to take glory or anything, but I'm here to bring forth that Trinity of Magdalene service. I am that in past lives. My Kosh is full of all of all the histories and ancient prophecies and everything, because I scribed it, I wrote it. It is written in my DNA. It'll come out for people, and I have no control over it. I just allow it to be. I be the Delphi. I become that 10th gene key and my purpose, and I just step into my naturalness as a medium, and I say, this is what you need to know.
Pamela was part of my path for that same thing. That same thing, because it was just like the way I first actually learned about Pamela was a guy messaged me and told me that my frequency reminded him of her.
Wow.
And I was like, who is this woman?
And she's Kali, and I understand Kali. I call myself Kali Kula, because I'm gonna call your head off, man. If you don't get your shit done, if you don't look at what we are, and you know, Kali is. So Pamela is Kali. She just needs to love Kali and not be afraid of her.
Yes, exactly. She needs to feel the freedom to not filter.
Not filter or make it all too lighty, because the message needs to come through as a message.
Because the light, what we're talking about, the false light, it's not those entities themselves.
It's
how the light is projecting around the medium's sphere.
Exactly. It's all perception. Look from this.
It's what it creates parasitic entities.
Yeah.
It creates parasitic forces. You know, that's like, it's like, okay, well, I can be your angel, your demon here.
Which one you
Yeah.
what you learn from right now? Because like I ain't afraid of either. Both.
Mm-hmm.
I learned I'm a shapeshifter, and it was even Pamela that helped clarify that with me, because I showed up to the Giza as a phoenix. I was, I look like a dove phoenix, and then I transformed into my Andromedan self in a white robe and a golden sash, and I initiated myself with her. I was there, and she helped me remember, but I felt things, and I'm like, I think I showed up as a phoenix. She's like, you did. I'm like, awesome. Well, I also felt like I turned into my other self, like, Andromeda and whatever it is. She's like, you did. I'm like, ah! So I then started, paying attention to my dreams and really working with astral dream walking. And, I've never really been good at astral traveling, but I got a pendant that's helped assist me throughout my whole journey. That's on my Malabi necklace. And it's helped me through it.
Oh, cool.
So
wow, that's cool.
Me, and all these things.
That is quite a necklace, girl.
I know. It took me a while to make. I made it at Lake Powell too.
Wow.
Nice. So I have all my love on here. This is my
wow. I want to know how you made all that. That's so cool.
It just kind of came to me. I didn't even know how I made it, but I want to make jewelry for people. I do.
You should.
And
I would buy it
innately, and I'm just like, all these things have been coming to me, and I'm like, I've been doing it for first and foremost for self, not in a selfish way, but to honor my sacred self and my divine self. Like, I'm here to be a shaman, a medicine woman, and that often scares the shit out of people. Think of the lady in
oh yeah,
in what is it called, the Pirates of the Caribbean, and you go to the bog, there's the black bog witch woman. That's pretty much me. I'm crazy, and I'm just like, wah! But my shit comes true, and shit gets real if you don't listen. And
I'm starting to let that part of myself out more.
I've had to, like, staying in a spiritual closet has only made me want to die. So I'm like, I can't not be magical. I can't fear that my mom's going to tell me, oh, you smell like a metaphysical store today. I don't care. It's called essential oils, Mom. Save yourself once in a while. You might not be such a bitch. But, I've had to get by. And if I leave if I don't come to your home, if I don't hang out with you, it's because I'm letting you be you and go on your journey. I don't want to hurt you with my pressure of grace to transcend it. Like, if you want to be in that comfort bubble, that is by all your journey.
Right.
Start to hurt you, then go out my revolving door. I'm here whenever you're ready to face whatever you need to face, but be true about it. Don't keep
right. And it's just like, I've had to go through this with my family and say, okay, are you sure you want a relationship with me?
That's what I'm
because
like.
If you want a relationship with me, the only way for me to tell you about myself is for me to take you with me.
Take you through a wormhole of miracles.
Because you're not going to understand it in words.
It's beyond words.
You're going to sit here and your view of things and get freaked out and cry because you think I'm just being attacked by demons, and that I'm biting off more than I can chew, and you're going to get worried about me, and you're going to try to keep me from going to do magic on my birthday.
Right, that's fucked.
You're going to be worried about who I'm hanging out with or who I'm going to get sucked back in with.
Right.
Because it's not going to make any fucking sense to you. And I've had to tell them, I was like, even what I went through with my ex, that you wanted to save me from, and why you had me come here so that you could rescue me, that was God's will.
It was. And that's what I'm telling my mom. She's always like, oh, Satan's doing this, or I'm feeling attacked on that. And I just sit there, I keep my mouth shut, because they're not going to believe my level of expanded knowing that you're creating that your own self.
Satan is bound by God's will.
Huh?
Satan is just as bound by God's will as we are.
Exactly. It's a role that became, I believe that Satan, aka Lucifer, whatever the fuck you want to attach the label to, came to teach us discernment, not to try to
Yeah.
fuck us up. If you were discerning, you would know before that hit you in the fucking face.
Right.
You know, but balls still hit you in the face, like I was talking.
Right. And that's how I've been able to process what I went through with my father and with the masculine in this lifetime and other lifetimes, because I had to come to the realization, and this like little fragile victimized inner child self of mine who couldn't process what she'd been through, couldn't handle it, how she'd been programmed by him, like coming up behind me on the couch and setting up a taser right behind my head and shit like that, and dragging me by my neck backwards down a bunch of stairs, throwing me on a bed. I thought, okay, today's the day. I'm 11 years old. Today's the day, because my daddy refused to respect my no and honoring my boundaries and tickling me, and I punch him in the face. He's going to turn around and beat the shit out of me. What does he do? He starts to breathe. He starts to calm himself down, and he turns around and he hugs me after all that. And
what kind of message does that send? That your abuse is okay?
Yeah. And I'm just supposed to accept it. But I mean, the thing that I had to accept, because it's like, if I was born in this world knowing this, it would have never happened.
You wouldn't have learned. But then you wouldn't have learned what you need to learn to tell people now.
Right. I mean, there was other things I had to learn in the process, not coming and not knowing it, in order to assist others. Because if I come in knowing it, and I didn't have that experience with him, and my father, you know, I came in, my father saw this, and he just starts bowing to me like, oh my gosh, I just get, my daughter's the goddess and I'm going to bow to her. Like,
cold chills.
You know, which is basically what happened with my brother. Like, his daughter, he's in wonderment with her. He's enthralled by her. So what we have is my brother, who was very hurtful to me in our childhood, he's transcended our karma with his own daughter.
That's what he was meant to do. Like, I'm transcending all my karma with my kids. And Malachi, he didn't even want kids. When he found out that I had kids, he was like, oh, fuck.
He's like, what am I going to do?
I knew he was a divine father, and he's still coming into that. He's still learning to accept it about himself, that he's meant to be a father of many. And we have hybrid kids, and he sees them.
He and I are breaching that with each other, because I'm healing my father karma, and he's healing his.
And me, my father karma is so far that now I'm finally with a man that my father loves to death. My dad has never liked anyone like Malachi. They're so much alike, but in a good way. My dad is the one that I thought was going to go to hell when I was a Christian, but he's actually right here with me, willing to hear the consciousness and hear the stories. And that's
amazing. It's like you and I have such a flipped reality, because my mom is the one who's willing to listen, even if she's going to cry. She still would rather be a part of my life and hear the truth from me.
Is my mom. Yeah. So it's like opposite for us, where you're healing your father, and whereas I have transcended that stuff. My dad and I are getting so much along, and Malachi has really helped me to be able to deal with the masculine. It's just like to transcend and to empower myself regardless. And I finally have a man that lets me focus on the goddess, and he upholds the goddess. Whereas my past relationships, I was screaming at, what do you love about my soul? And they're like, you're beautiful. I'm like, I don't want to hear how beautiful my body is. I want to hear how beautiful my fucking soul is. And they're like, I'm like, I'm done with this relationship. Please go away. Live your own life, but don't hurt me anymore.
Oh my gosh. So many men so fucking clueless, and I feel for them, because they lacked mothers.
Yeah. And
they would not be approaching me in these ways that they do if they didn't lack mothers.
If they had a good mother role model and also father, they're both absent.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody in our society, anywhere you look till today, have actually grown up. That's what's sad. Everybody is little toddlers running around, including our adults. And like us, who are growing up and are reparenting us and rescripting our DNA, recoding, doing what we're meant to be with our DNA so we become a higher purpose. We're anomalies to them. They're like, I'm a 60-year-old. Why are you giving me advice or think I need advice about this? Well, because you're being an idiot. I called my mom an idiot. She flipped out. And then I'm like, Mom, I'm done with you being a Nazi over me. I'm not an idiot. I'm not a Nazi. I'm like, you're not seeing the point. Come to me when you're not biased anymore. And then we can have a relationship. Because I'm not biased to you. I'd like to tell you my experiences, but I don't just want to listen to yours. I can't share mine without you flipping out. So the moment that I can share freely, I'm willing to have relation. And that's where I'm coming into, I love that, right now Venus is retrograde and everybody's having to face this karmic shit because I'm like, yay, now people can finally understand what the fuck I've been doing. Because that's all I've been doing. And, I'm fighting for the whole. I'm not trying to tell people how to be. I'm not trying to control them, but I also don't want them to control me and tell me how I have to be and behave in society because I'm creating a new one. I'm not going for that old, outdated bullshit anymore. And if you're going to bring it up for karmic release or karmic clearing, we're going to do it on the spot, no matter what demons throw us around.
Right.
I tell my stepdad, I'm like, I'm not going to dance with your demons anymore because you're not willing to take accountability that you see me as a monster. He's like, glad to see you're possessed. I'll pray for you. I'm like, bye, buddy. You just ruined any chance me and my mom had at a new relationship because her last relationship marriage, the man called me a leper and he was afraid of me all because I had herpes. I didn't know how I got herpes. It was either from my ex-husband or a guy that I first dated in high school that I never even had sex with. My ex-husband was the first man I ever had sex with. And yet I still contracted herpes and I started having outbreaks within 3 months of us having intercourse.
STDs have to do with a spiritual phenomenon more than they do a technical one.
Right. But my mom she's been in these karmic relationships since my dad. She wants to, she's a narcissist constantly looking for the right man that she's equally.
Well, you realize the reason he had such an issue with that.
What?
Is because his own karmic relationship with your mother was a parallel to what ended up actually spiritually giving you the herpes.
Right. And that herpes was a bleed-in from all my past lives of being
right.
It went through many layers of things that I've had to transcend, and now I'm with a man who doesn't even give a fuck about it. We're so both celibate that it doesn't even fucking matter, and it doesn't hurt me anymore. Like I can be honest about it. That's so cute. But I can be open and honest, whereas in the past I was hiding that aspect of myself. I was hating myself for it. I'm like, how am I ever going to have a good relationship? How is a man ever going to want to be with me or sleep with me or trust me? Or, every man that always thought I was cheating on him. I've never done that to anybody in my fucking life. And, yet Brandon was always like, oh, you're going to cheat on me. I'm like, that's your insecurity, man. But I had my own security that, I couldn't even explore myself sexually because I didn't want to give another person a disease if I did.
Well, and this fear of cheating is not even like coming from a space of unconditional love.
What?
This fear of someone cheating on you is not even coming from a space of love because it's like, okay, well, here's me, here's you. If in your journey you really need to explore with another person, then let me know.
That's where I'm at usually, and that's where me and him
because we can form our relationship
around.
However, we need to appropriately from I'm your sister, you're my brother.
Mm-hmm. And I'm able to
and take this flow.
But I wasn't able to do that with my ex-husband because he was Christian. I had borderlines that I didn't even allow myself through, even though my ex-husband was like, I think you're bisexual. You seem to like watching girl on girl type stuff more. And I'm just, no, I'll never like other girls. No. Until years later, I kissed a girl and I fucking liked it. Hello? And then my mom, she took a picture of me kissing my best friend, fucking with people in a bar just because me like her like to fuck around and tease the boys. We were just having fun.
Fairies.
Yeah, and I would make out with her, and that was on my Meet Me page, where no one knew I Meet Me outside of Facebook. So my ex-husband found that and wanted to use it against me and try to get my kids taken away, try to get my mom on his side, use it as leverage. Oh, look, she's fucking around with girls, knowing my mom's Christian and that she would disdain the fact that I'm making out with a girl. But I have yet to tell her that I'm bisexual. I could never tell her that because I knew that I would be. That was the year where she was with Greg and she almost disowned me and said, "You're not allowed to come around your stepbrothers. You're a bad influence." I'm like, "Fuck you, woman. You're supposed to be my mom, regardless of what sex I sleep with or what the fuck I'm doing to explore. It's not me. You know me. You know my relationship with God, regardless." She didn't follow suit with that knowing, with that truth and what she knew me as. Instead, she just, that's why I don't have a relationship with her, because she's still doing it. Like, if I can't be me, I can't be the witchy self, and I can't, I'm not what she wants me to be. And I never will be. And she's sitting
Baptists are exceptionally great at making witches.
Who?
Baptists are exceptionally great at making witches.
Right? Yeah, just like, the Catholics are great at making whores. No, I'm joking. Oh, no. It's all the shit. What's up?
Like me and Star were talking. Christianity should be considered a mental illness.
Christianity should be a mental. All religion should be. It's an addiction.
They have narcissistic personality disorder. They need to have Christianity personality disorder. Christians are more fucked up than schizophrenics.
How much more can I escape myself by placing my identity in Jesus?
Save me!
I love that little voice you just did. That was really funny.
Well, remember what Yeshua said to me the other day while I was talking to you, Malachi, is he said to me, and this is the second, I don't remember if I said this earlier or not, but I got to the point where he said, the reason I haven't been talking to you is because I don't want you to hide in comfort with me. I don't want you to get your truth from me.
I got mad at Jesus at one point.
You're the Magdalene frequency. You're here to bring the truth.
I can focus on food.
It was kind of like how Malachi earlier was saying that, he's like, well, I don't want to hog the screen because I'm here to support you.
Right.
He's been doing the same thing for me.
Exactly.
And it took me a while. It took me talking to you to actually get that.
Or to get me. He saved our relationship.
He really did. I mean, I don't want to say that fully though, because
all my relationships.
Because I still have faith. I have faith that we would have broken through regardless, but it definitely helped facilitate.
We don't need any more separation in this universe.
No. Not at all.
Unify. Coexist or co-extinct.
Co-extinct, yeah. That's what's gonna happen.
Right?
No, there's no debating it anymore. We're at a precipice in evolution where you're either evolving or you're gonna die. And that's just the sad truth of it. And people can get fucking mad and, try to decipher revelations, but fail miserably. Or, see the signs and prophecies for what's fucking happening and listen to the messengers that are here to give the truth. And, possibly help you save yourself. Build an Earthship Merkabah because y'all ain't gonna have another ship to fucking ride on like Noah did.
Yeah.
Unless the whole planet's Noah's Ark.
I remember being in a ship above all that when it was happening. It really sucked.
I bet.
A lot of my grief came from that moment. That I had to. That's what brought me into the underworld. Like my guide told me once that the reason I became a crystal was that my soul, or at least an aspect, because I've got more places. My soul comes from multiple frequencies, but
me too, all over the place.
As far as my karmic side, it came from the tears that the goddess cried into the earth
That makes sense.
over her children having to be destroyed.
I felt resonance with that within me too.
And so my soul frequency from that standpoint was then born into a crystal. Oh, wow.
Amazing.
That is amazing.
Goddess rising. Hell yeah.
Wow.
Going nuclear.
That was me pretty much at the bathhouse.
But my soul was reborn as this crystal from her tears. From her tears that fell into the earth became these crystals.
We said it.
From that, my soul was born.
That's our souls being born. Let's cry.
Yes.
Tears.
Yes, exactly.
You were saying.
I mean, Hannah calls it forged in fire.
Yeah. I feel so equal with that. Like, we're twins.
Because yes, and Hannah's that way too. Like Hannah, I don't want to say she's that way, but like I feel would most likely resonate with what we're saying in her own way.
Yeah.
But
Everybody's in their own level.
so it was from that point that I went through different levels of the underworld and evolving my soul back up. But it's like my soul, as it was born, it was met with my higher self and my lower self working together in this transcendental cross-time way. And it was like those inverted selves meeting one another into this lifetime perfectly, equanimously. And that's why I do feel such a heart for the beings in the underworld.
Me too. That's why I could never just. When I first opened up to my awakening, that's what they brought me through: is don't fear these things. You are going to fall in love with the devil. I'm like, are you fucking shitting me?
I was just in a relationship with Lucifer.
Whoever you're looking for has horns. I'm like, yeah, but my ex-husband's a reptilian. They're like, don't get twisted with that either. He's also a monster that helped save you. I'm like, what the fuck? This doesn't make sense. These are my enemies. They're like, there are no enemies. You're your own worst enemy. I'm like, this consciousness thing is kind of rather weird.
Yeah. But all of that can be used to be manipulative, to create manipulative cult leaders too. So that's another thing that's like, well, these manipulative cult leaders are also part of waking us the fuck up into ourselves.
It's a paradox. Like, hello.
And not stopping us.
In his chart that he's supposed to be in a cult leader. That's totally the world knows it's to be. We're leaders, but we're not occultists in that way. That is just a paradigm that they're stuck in. It's just a fucking word. And we're magic coming into reality. You get over it. Because
are you familiar with the Nityananda movement?
The what?
The Nityananda movement.
I have never heard of that.
So he's this guru in India. You should look him up because he's got millions and millions and millions of possessed soldiers.
Malachi would have fun with those.
Oh, he should.
I wouldn't know what to do with that, but he would have a hate.
Well, I don't want to say he should because that's his free will. That's his choice. I almost said free will. I'm outmoding the word free will.
I agree.
Because I was so into free will, and then I realized, oh, that's this Luciferian thing. And then I was like, okay, well, it's still important, but it's co-creation.
Yeah, we're not
created as it creates us, but it's still important to surrender to divine will.
And there is a level of free will we have to make choices, to do things, to create. It's creation.
Express.
We want to create our highest potential that the Creator has in mind for us, you know? There's God, Creator, Source, whatever, and it governs our lives. We're just an idea. And there were billions of ideas put on this planet, all trying to create an idea of what God is, of what we are. What
I will say this to Malachi. If it feels self-loving to fuck with Nityananda, go right ahead.
I want his army.
He wants his army. I was going to tell him he just wants the army. That's what's going to find out. Like, he wants to add it to his legion.
Take over the world.
Oh my gosh, so many young, beautiful people have, I see in their eyes, and it's like I can see when someone's possessed in their eyes.
Oh, yeah.
When they're not their true selves anymore, they've just been taken over by something.
Taken over by something. I can tell instantly with them. I'm just like, tone changes, eyes look different. I'm like, who the fuck's in the room with me?
But they're not aware of it. They're just zombies.
They don't. He's very aware of what's going on.
Oh, right. He's different.
Everyone else is like Brandon. He was not aware at all, and I could tell when he was something else. And I'm just like, this isn't the man that I want to be in relation with.
Mm-hmm.
And
they're just being puppeted, so to speak, you know. And it's like I see that with Nityananda's followers and the videos they put on Facebook of like attacking these other spiritual teachers and accusing them of stealing stuff from them, or like, and just. There was this one beautiful girl who was like, the first video I saw from her, she was going on and saying, oh, I'm being told that I'm Arcturian and this is my story. And she was such a beautiful young woman. And then suddenly she got snatched up by the whole Nityananda thing, and her eyes completely changed. She looks like this beautiful goddess. But I could tell that she got pulled in that Luciferian current of like, worshiping his ego.
All right.
And thinking that she was becoming more in her self-worth because of her affiliation with him. And I was like, I recognize it in you because I went through the same thing. So it's like, I wish I could just like grab her and pull her aside and be like, honey, I see you because I went through it too, you know, but like, this is part of your journey. And I know that once you wake up from this for yourself, that you're going to be unstoppable.
Yeah, that's what's
so I really hope that all those millions of soldiers wake the fuck up from this ninth dimensional parasitic fuck face.
Yeah, exactly. It's literally a fuck face. We're all getting hit in the face. Oh, goodness.
7:30.
It is. It's 6:30 here. How much time do you have?
I don't know. I mean, my family's probably going to have dinner soon. They might actually be having it now.
Yeah, if you want to go eat with them or check, we can. I can always do another Zoom later. I did want to get to reading some, but we actually talked about a lot of good stuff today. You know, we still got.
We did. I think it's hard to get through a lot of readings in one setting.
Doing this, and whoever comes. But we need to keep doing this so we can just uncover things. And I make it go live so anybody can watch and read it.
What's that, Malachi?
I was just saying, just you two do Zooms. Fuck the rest of the world. They don't matter.
We're probably transforming just as much.
To me. So it's gonna be fun. 3 women.
Just goddesses only, you know.
And he is a goddess.
And
he
doesn't
look like a goddess.
Don't let the male body fool you.
Don't let the male body. Yeah, or the female body. Because I'm more man.
I have to learn how to support masculinity a little more in the future. But
I know. It's okay. You're in process with it.
The goddess is rising.
You're reawakening to the beauty of the masculine.
The necessity to be there, you know, and to support that energy, because it's like it's been so disgraced for so many thousands of years. And it's like, that was my first path was with Isis. So it's like I stick to the 10,000 journeys, the 10,000 pathways and faces and names. It's like that's what I started with, and that's what I'm going. That's what works. Is goddess energy. That works, even if it's chaos. That's a feminine energy. All of the stuff I've ever worked with turns out all feminine. And Astaroth, by the way, Astaroth, I've been reading up. It is a he, but it's also a goddess. Ashtoreth, which is Inanna.
Yes.
Oh,
I was wondering if there was an affinity there. I was wondering actually if there was an affinity there.
Oh yeah, there's definitely. Like I had to look it up. I finally.
I mean, Inanna has a fuck ton of angry fractals.
You're not.
Trust me, I know.
Food.
It's been pretty crazy. Things are burning out though. We're definitely getting into what's important.
Yeah.
Fizzing out. I mean, all of those beings, all they simply need is presence.
Exactly. And that's why those beings that were yelling at you and yelling through me, you know, they all calmed down because, you know, you gave them presence, and they were like, oh, somebody actually sees me. Holy shit, I don't have to scream at them anymore.
And I'm not trying to shove any chocolates down your throat.
Chocolate?
He's got plenty of them from Olive Garden.
I mean, I know you like chocolate, but I mean, Ashtroth was like, you guys come to us like with a piece of chocolate, and you think we're gonna like it.
That shit tastes weird to us. For you, but it's shit for us.
Yeah, we're like, we don't care about chocolate. We just want to destroy you.
Right? We don't go sell your chocolate somewhere else, Girl Scouts.
Until the Girl Scouts just like, hi, beast. And then they're like, wow.
All of the rage is a lie, too. It's all the illusion. All the demons, all they need is something other than what they've experienced, and they change.
Right. Because they're just in an infinite feedback loop.
That's all it is. So they just think that's all that there is what they experience. And it's like, no, everybody's so scared of them that they don't want to give them something new.
Right.
And unfortunately for me, I keep channeling all of them, and they're so angry all the time. And I'm like, don't make me say this stuff, because people are going to hate me even more than they already do. And they don't even realize it's not really me. It is me, but it's not me.
It comes in and out, because I think that there's certain aspects of you, there's certain aspects of your like internal dialogue with yourself that is a frequency match, that's like enough of a frequency match that they get a foot in the door through it. And so it's like they are these mirrors of parts of yourself, but it's not just you, it's for all of us.
Collective. We're collective bodies. It's all we can do.
Right.
Bioorganic Ouija board.
Right. So the more that you come into a relationship of like loving yourself, which they try to knock out of your hands all the time, because they're like, no, you're with us. Remember?
You're on our side,
I
man.
scream at them, no, you're with me.
Did you hear? Were you in the room when I talked about what Angelica saw in you?
Oh, I had to leave to go. I don't know.
So Angelica had this vision of both of you, and she was like, "They're both such pure beings. I was so touched by their souls, because she sees souls, and she was just floored by you guys." And she was like, "No, there's this stuff happening on the surface, but that's not it. That's not." And she saw you guys, and she said that when she read what you wrote underneath the post 2 days ago, you know, with that guy, Mike or whatever, who never showed back up to the conversation. And when she read what you wrote, she started speaking in light language. And she was like, what's going on? I'm channeling. And she said she could understand what was being said was something about Yeshua being in your heart, hugging all the demons in the underworld. And being this transformer of into light, like transforming into light, and like holding this Yeshua presence for them.
At the depths of darkness, light burns hotter than 1,000 suns and brighter. That's in the depths of the darkness. That's the secrets that darkness holds. There is no darkness. There's just a lack of perception thereof of the light within.
Yes, because they don't have Owl's vision.
So
you are glowing. What the fuck?
Right? I'm like, what's going on? I'm just crying. I'm like, oh, this is bliss. That's his Stinky, man. He's in his purpose.
Aww, I feel that. Aw, family moment.
Yeah.
My soul will never rest until, divine femininity gets strength back and rises.
My eyes are blind.
Masculinity.
Well, I've had this epiphany, Malachi, about the masculine and even Lucifer, is that it's just been this inversion relationship with that. They keep like crushing the feminine because they want the feminine to rise. They keep crushing the feminine because they want the feminine to rise. And they don't, it's like they're confused about what they actually want. But what they really truly want is they want the feminine to rise.
It's a choice.
And how they're going about it is, it's twisted.
Well, of course, because light cannot help but follow the direction it's given in the relationship of the inversion field. That's the nature of the shadow. That's the relation. That's how light gets distorted, and all these, like, fortunately, something. I mean, I don't always know what's going on with all this dimensional stuff, but I can see certain things that come up to me in patterns.
Right.
And I get messages from them.
That's really cool.
That's where my downloads come from. It's looking at the patterns.
And
that's a Libra thing. It's a very Libra thing.
And that's the thing, is I do get patterns, but they're not, vision is still trickling in for me. I don't quite see, but I know. Like I have flashes of visions, I have dreams, but everything else is external. I have to have a book, I have to have a tarot, like I have to have art, I have to have anything external to show people something.
Right. I'm visual outside my vision too, just like that. It's more that I get textures. I get body textures, especially if I smoke weed. I get body textures that are just overwhelming. And the fractal patterns of the body textures give me information. So it's like they're visual, but it's from different set of eyes.
Okay. That's different.
Not from my third eye.
Right.
It's from in my heart. It's from my heart, actually. It's my heart's vision.
That's cool.
So it's like I have a third eye in my heart.
That is awesome.
And in my belly.
Because, yeah, I'm pretty, anytime I focus here, I get a bad headache. But here is when I'm just like.
Yes, heart bloom.
That helps me, actually, because I never saw it that way. I've always been trying too hard from this, and I'm just like, fuck.
This can only come, like, with ease.
Right. Well, Malachi, he sees things in his eyeballs, like literally.
Right.
He sees things, and I'm like, that's where we're so different. Like, I get jealous because I want to see that stuff. He's like, no, you really don't. Like, but,
he's like, trust me.
But I do. Like, then I can make sense of it. He's like, it sucks though. Like, it's nonstop. You can't turn it off. It's like, it's always in his eyes. And I'm like, he sees everything in the Matrix. And I've had to learn to take his word for everything, because literally what he says happens all the time. Whether it's like 2 years later, a week later, or seconds later, it's usually pretty on spot. And I'm like, oh, well, damn, your intuition's bam. And his awareness, bam. He's just hit. The only thing he's lacking is love for himself. Love for his body and taking care of his vessel and giving a shit about it.
Well, he's not lacking it necessarily. He's just learning how to stoke it.
Yeah, he doesn't want to, because he hates the masculine so much.
Right.
Like, we need to all stop hating the masculine. You know, yeah, we hate them because they're beating us up a little bit, but love is only going to change things.
Well, I think that what he can possibly come to accept is the masculine redeeming itself.
Exactly. And he needs to help redeem them. And he wants to, but he's.
And as he does, he will lead. As he does, he will lead.
Yeah, he's going to be
a movement of men who will.
That's what I'm waiting for. I see it in the future. I see that's stuff I can innately see. And I get a lot of my information channels just happens through auto writing. I have no control. I put my hands on a keyboard and I'm taking over. I'm literally just like, I'm like, what the fuck did I just write? I know, but I don't know. And I'm always really blown away. And then I'm like, well, fuck, no one can read all this. So that's why I'm
well, and what he's also, I think one of his primary purposes, one of his most primary purposes, is helping the man understand why it's important for him to bow to the goddess now.
Exactly. He's the leading.
Because it's something that's so terrifying for them. It's so terrifying to them.
To believe us.
Because they think that we're going to just turn into mommy dragon and lord over them.
Too emotional to have any say about what happens with the planet.
We need some of that, though, in an apathetic society.
Yeah.
It's like they've got to learn how to trust us again. To lead. They've got to trust us to lead. It's the only way.
And they're afraid of us.
It's the only way.
To give the power, they don't want to put the torch in our hand for even a slight second so that we can bring balance to it and then both hold it.
And this is where I feel that
have some extra oomph.
This is where I feel that regardless of the shape that the relationship between me and Force ends up taking, because I'm open at whatever that is.
I understand that.
You are in time going to fall in love with Forrest as a person in our family, and here's why. Because he is fully ready to support the queen on the throne.
Well, I did see that in the cards, and that I honor that. I just saw that karmic with what you guys had engaged with that, and I'm very mama bear, and he already explained that to you. That's all I care about, is because I've seen myself get hurt, and I don't want to see my girls get hurt. It's just a warning of don't fuck with her. And as long as he's willing to.
That's funny. He felt that. He's even said that. He was like, I should have never fucked with the goddess. I gotta remember that goddess is powerful. I can't fuck with her.
Yeah. Exactly.
And he said that at one point after what happened to him.
That's a good awareness then. That's what he needed to learn. We don't fuck with the goddess. We honor them. We love them. Tantrically hold them.
Yes, and it's not that he wasn't.
I didn't assume he didn't. That's just what my intuition was telling me. Just honor the goddess.
I think what it is that it's like literally we're like this Hansel and Gretel here, and we don't realize that all these dark shadows in the forest and this witch that wants to eat us is our own fucking subconscious.
Yep.
And so my astrologer, she's like, so you guys are going to have to do this thing where you go apart and you deal with your own subconscious.
Yes. You do. That's all we were saying is you work on you. And I was mad, but not mad, but I was like, you two are meant to, you can work together, but you're meant to work on you specifically. Him on himself, you on you.
Oh, he knows that. I mean, I told him that I would like to bring a child into the world. And he was just kind of like, and he would not even come to the point of like recognizing that we had a future together as a couple, because he had so much respect and reverence for me. And he was just like, Goddess, you're here to bring so much light into the world. I know that you have this divine purpose, and I support you 100%. You're my sister, like as your brother, I support you 100%. I will hold the space for you goddesses to do this work. And he would not even allow himself to consider himself at the level of partnering with me yet.
Well, that's his own masculine right now, needing to also empower himself. He's right where Malachi was. Am I worthy of this? I'm not worthy of you. And he had to go through.
Right. That's how he feels. He does feel that way. He does not feel worthy of me.
They're not unworthy. And that's what I was saying, is that he's not at your vibration right now. That's why I said work on you. He can work on him. He needs to work on his unworthiness issue.
Right. He needs to also work on his will, his fire. Because he's so Vata. He's tall, skinny guy. He's too much in his yin.
Yes, he is. That's why I'm like, okay, Forrest, let's go out in the forest a little bit. Do some manly things. Woo!
I mean, he does do manly things, and he did plenty of manly things for me, but at the same time, it's energetic. It's energetic.
Was it supposed
to? I think he wanted to massage you. I don't know.
This is trying to make me cold.
Oh.
Ice and then try to make me cold. It's a
I see.
to do, because I don't like being cold.
I talked to Ambrosia for a really long time last night, And it was almost like she was saying the same things, some of the same things you were, but from a so different perspective, that it was almost like I couldn't quite understand her. I couldn't quite understand you. But when I put them together, I was like, okay, I'm starting to get it.
The astrology stuff?
No, she's not. She's an Oracle of Delphi like you.
Okay, yeah, I get all the name mixed up. There's two. Yeah.
You and Ambrosia, oh my God. That's going to be fucking incredible.
I'll have to get her on here one time.
I know she wanted to come today. So she was helping her mom out. But she's been through some pretty incredible stuff. Like her ex-husband, who she brought her daughter in the world with, reminds me a lot of Malachi.
No.
Only it was different because he didn't come into it for the same reasons. I mean, he might have come in for the similar reasons, but different path. He wasn't submitting to the goddess.
A little different.
And it's worlds different.
Wow.
Because, okay, you have a young masculine who's sick of feeling disempowered.
Who's what?
You have on all of these men who get involved in working with the demonology, essentially,
Okay.
working with chaos,
Right.
magic.
Right.
You always have a young man who is sick and tired of feeling disempowered and is masculine. But the difference is, what do they do with that?
Right.
With him, his choice was to submit to the goddess.
Him too.
With most men, it's not that way. They just go directly into whispering to the demons for power.
Right. Or blood magic.
Or blood magic, yes.
I knew demons had no power, so I didn't want them. They suck.
He's like, our race sucks. The men
It's false power.
about the goddess.
It's a fake power, really. It's a power that relies on how much power we give them.
Right. It's
It's a
fear.
mirror power.
Yeah.
But she got the same thing that happened to her eye, Malachi. Same thing that happened to me when her husband whispered to Saturn when she left him.
Warm it up.
After she left him, he whispered to Saturn, and she got the same thing, same exact thing I did with her eye, only hers was much worse.
Boy.
It lasted months and months and months, and he was in her dream time every single night.
Boy.
This is a really powerful dude. She actually asked if she could bring him to an ayahuasca ceremony, or asked for me to sermon for that, and I was just like, I felt into him at the time. She didn't tell me much about him. She said that he was on medications, and I felt into him, and my eyes got huge, and it went like this. It was like, oh, we can't bring him in context with everyone else. If he wants to do a private ceremony, we can talk.
Right.
I was like, not everyone's ready for that.
Some aren't yet. Yeah. I'm ready for anything. So is he. But
You know what? I had a thought yesterday. I was like, how fucking amazing would it be if you, me, Malachi, and Ambrosia showed up at my ex's doorstep and said, hey, we're ready to do a ceremony with you.
yeah, he'd kill him. He wouldn't even go to ceremony. He'd just joke, but yeah,
These days, murderers.
Well, spiritually, he probably needs that.
he does need it. Yeah, but also that
He needs his balls chopped off and pasted back on.
Oh, I could do that.
he could do that. I'll just watch and be like, is that really necessary? I'll pretend I'm not watching.
And I'll just look at him up and be like, anything for you, babe. I'll just look at him and say, whatever it takes. Oops, whatever it takes. Oh, that's what you said when you held a gun to your head in front of me. You said whatever it takes, babe.
Come on.
So where's your spirit?
Where's your spirit in it? Hey, let's do an exorcism. I choke you while you cough.
Well, he might like that a little too much.
No.
He used to make me choke him. He used to make me choke him. Oh my God, we're still being
I
recorded.
said that innately.
Depends on how you're choking them.
We're still being recorded. Oh well, what the fuck? Here we are, world. Here we are.
I do it Jesus style, and I just wrap thorns around his ass.
Oh man, this is being recorded.
I don't care.
I know, right?
Frozen yogurt tastes like ice cream.
I see that you are eating ice cream. That's awesome. I have to be careful with sweets now.
Oh, me too.
I'm like purging candida.
Oh yeah, I've been doing that for a while. I think most of it's out of my system. I don't eat as many sweets, but when I do crave it, I have a little bit. And it's only like usually a scoop, maybe. I don't eat like a whole bowl of anything. I'm like literally a couple bites here, a couple bites there. Obviously, I still haven't eaten my fish. So I'm getting
really?
up. Yeah, I ate 2 bites of it. And yeah, I'm a little rabbit. Just don't.
I assume that you had a happy plate.
Had a very sad plate.
It's just sad. Because it didn't get eaten.
Oh.
I made a happy plate of my salmon salad the other night, though.
So how are you going to post this video later?
It's already live going onto YouTube. And then I'll put it up on Facebook.
I see.
I had that whole section about, you know, castration and choking with barbed wire. That's got to be a good one to put online.
Well, I was going to say, I don't know if there's any editing function. You could probably edit it on YouTube to just cut it off at a certain point too, if you want.
I don't know how to do that.
You're like a filter. Did you just say that? You're like, that word doesn't exist for me.
I'm fully transparent. We're all making jokes here. We're not like, we don't hurt.
No, I have no actual vengeful spirit towards my ex at all.
Comedy.
I just,
That's what all
I surrendered him because Lilith obviously was after his ass. So I surrendered. I said, Lilith, I trust you to take care of him and teach him what he needs to learn. He'll learn eventually.
What's up? Yeah, love this. He'll go in the corner and start chanting random shit and he's just like Ramadan. You talk about Lilith and he's like, and I ask him what's going on. He looks at me like, I've done nothing. Like you're just making me fish. That's all you're doing.
Yep, exactly.
You're talking demonically to fish. Gotta love him. I do. We're in our own house. We don't hurt no one. Just chilling. Usually I'm the one that he's trying to stop from going crazy, and I'm hurting him more than he's hurting me.
I don't hurt anybody.
It doesn't ever
What's the name? Hey, what's the name of that orangutan goddess you were talking about again, Malachi?
You said I'm an orangutan goddess.
Or a gorilla goddess?
There's a gorilla goddess.
You were saying that her aspect that comes through and starts crushing stuff, smashing stuff.
Oh, our friend Star has an etheric general.
Oh, Star! I thought you were talking about Trinity.
No, I was like, that doesn't sound like me. I'm not a gorilla.
It's one of her generals in like the other worlds that she turns to, and that's like one of her.
Yeah, that's Star.
It must have been Kali I was seeing earlier then.
I got Kali, that's for sure.
You totally do. Nikki saw Kali in you big time. She was freaked out by it.
Really?
She was like, well, because when I first showed you, like when we had that like first falling out.
Oh yeah.
I showed her the message. I was like, because I was honestly like, what do you think of this? Like, what do you see going on between us here? And she was just like, because she was high and she was drunk, and she's like, oh, I love her. And I'm like, fuck you.
You're like, yeah, I don't love her.
I'm like, you little bitch. She's like, oh, I love her. She's like a puppy dog to you. And I was just like, okay, all right, well, fine. I'm listening.
Okay, what do you love about her? Why?
I was like, I love her too. But what's going on? and,
And
and
that's
then
universal
like
love.
2 days later, she's all like freaked out. Look at her, she's calling. Oh my god, blah, blah, blah. What are you doing going with this woman? Well, I was like, 2 days ago, I showed you the side of her that was coming out that I was having a hard time with, and you were like adoring her. So what the fuck?
What the fuck? What many you like her? You can't not like her now. That's what I keep telling everybody. I'm like, I'm everything. I can't help but be myself. I'm done fighting with myself not to be myself. So I've said, fuck it. I'm free. You say there's no matrix and it obliterates itself. That's the magic.
Interesting. Well, I'm holding space for the frequency of us coming together in the physical plane.
Me too.
Somehow, some way.
We'll make it. This is the beginning. It's all you have to do. At least I'm getting to talk to someone. Less than zero. So we'll have more too. Carrie was meant to be here. Your friend was meant to. It's all timing.
It's all synchronizing, but I think that maybe a major component of it is that you and I were still synchronizing.
Yeah,
that's significant for some reason. I feel that that's really highly significant for everything else synchronizing because we're the twins.
To kind of feel into what it would be like to be on these. I haven't ever done.
We've got to be fully on each other's team, you know.
And get where we're coming from, and you're starting to get it. I'm starting to get it. Now it's trust, just like, at masculine, we're asking each other to trust each other. One masculine to another and feminine within, it's mirror effect fully.
And I get to pull my head out of my ass and come talk to you before I leave the group chat.
Yeah, I guess so. I knew you were I didn't think you were leaving. I thought you were like putting it on hold or like silencing.
Well, that's really what I wanted to do until I got a chance to talk to you, because I was just like, okay, this is really something I need to talk with you about before I make a judgment call on how I'm going to handle it.
It was kind of all over the place, and I didn't even know how to respond to it myself. I was just like, yeah, maybe we should try to keep this so it's just for when we're doing these. There's like a Zoom group chat, and then we can have that Facebook group chat, and it can go while we're on Zoom. But otherwise, I just wanted to keep it silent. I'm just like, I need somewhere that people will know that these are happening, and I can just say, this is the next Zoom, this is the time, say yes or no, so I can know. Eventually, I want to, yeah, I'm done with that. I want to know who's showing up so I can have a password for people to get on, because eventually I kind of have it donation based in the future, just so that we can create a revenue for us all to work from and start,
maybe more effective than doing the group chat. We could close that down, because there's always that one person in the group that won't. It's like herding cats. Those group chats are like herding cats. That's why I hate them.
Right.
That's why I honor how much I prefer not to herd cats. And so, so if we did like just to do an event invite, then you can make your announcements on the event invite.
Just invite as many, tell them all to join that group that I created, and then I'm doing invites and stuff on that.
Well, I'm not in the group anymore, so you'll have to
responding. So it's like I need people to engage too and respond, say what times kind of work, where they're at. Like, I don't know anything. I'm going off of what works over here in Colorado, and I'm just like, I'll flex and bend down almost anything. I just need to be able to kind of know what I'm organizing, but no one's initiating or saying anything or really getting involved. I've tried to make it over to that, the Angel Boot Camp group. That's kind of where everything's gonna correlate to lives and Zooms and the whole academy in general that's coming up on YouTube that we're gonna be engaging with together.
Well, what I'll do is that if if it's possible for you to get out a little bit earlier this week, would be especially helpful. But I understand sometimes it's the way spirit moves and you can't do anything about it. But if you can get out your announcement about what you're doing, because I know that's what you're used to, how you're used to formatting
things.
A
week beforehand and have it like every Sunday.
Right. And then what I can do is I can go in, or even if you have like a page, like a Trinity page, and you make me an admin of your Trinity page, then I can go in there and I can actually create the event for you if you want. I'm just offering. Or you can do it yourself.
Page already is. I gave you admissions. I have a page. It's Gaia's. Let me look.
Yeah, I don't know if I can. Maybe I might be able to create an event in the Delphi group. I probably could, but it would only invite people in that group. So that's the problem.
You can, yeah. Well, it's been giving me bugs. I don't know why I can't make you like a administrator or whatever it is that gives you full reign, like to help me on it. It denies me the ability to give you that access. I'm pissed off at Facebook right now because it's not letting me do fucking anything that it'll let everybody else do. So I'm just like, I'm tired of that platform. But I have a page called Gaia's Dragonfly Choir and Orchestra of Synergistic Harmonic Convergence. That's the original page that I created for everything more, you know.
What's up to you? If you want me to use that one, or I can just do it from my own profile.
I made that group for this one. They're both the same thing. You can work off of either of them, whatever works to get events going or whatever. We can correlate to both.
That one would probably be the best, but you probably have to make me an admin of that page.
Okay.
Because if you do a page is different than the forum.
Okay. I'll still try to do what I can to get you like access on both. That was that was what Spirit told me to do, is make this group, make this page, and this is what you'll run majority of everything off of, and you'll keep the archives, you'll keep everybody else's, anyone else can engage and enjoy and be living libraries, do their thing, and show their stuff off and share their art or their writings or whatever if they're going through something, post something for the collective to kind of help you work through it. And I just want it to get really people to engage on it. I want a place that people can trust and a platform that they can kind of come to and know that they're safe. So, and that's been my goal forever. And I made it a year ago, and I'm like, okay, Spirit, let's get stuff moving. Like, it's just been stagnant. And I'm like, okay, well, I've been waiting on divine timing, just because I'm done trying to force people to, be a part of it. I'm just like, okay, I'll just start doing my videos and see what they do, because my writing wasn't doing anything. It wasn't drawing people in because they get so triggered with it. But I can't help but be a trigger point therapist. So I trigger point everything, and then I'm here for the healing aspect. A lot of people get mixed and mingled with their own personal shit, and they can't deal with it. They get triggered on all the little things. And so I'm like, I'll start doing videos then, so you guys understand what the heck I'm doing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I appreciate it's appreciated. It does make a huge difference.
Yeah, it's just my own insecurity. It's like I'm still coming through my own stuff. I'm like, yeah,
This is good practice for that. This is good practice.
It is.
So I'm doing the same thing. It's just that this past year, I've literally been through so much shit that it's transformed my face.
No, I get it.
So I'm still coming out of that. I'm still coming out of that denser nature with myself, and just like learning, like, it's okay, just keep loving yourself through it. And
I feel the same way.
You'll come back in your radiance. It's
just different. I've been thrown around and feel like I got some wrinkles, and I'm like,
right?
What's this? Hey, I love you, wrinkles. I love you.
Yeah. 37 fucking years old now. It's crazy. 31. I can't believe it.
Right. Well, I think we should try to call it. We can do another video and more reading. I could always read my thing on a live thing of my own. We don't have to do it. But I want to keep doing these live Zooms just so people can be part of the conversations and join in if they want to be part of our, I don't even want to go corny or not, but pretty much alchemology. We're doing alchemy.
Yes, exactly.
Mind, body, and
Exactly.
soul. You know, we need to honor it all, every bit and single drop and ounce of who we are, not hide from any aspect of what we are. And those who do, they're just gonna struggle, and it's gonna hurt us to watch them struggle. But once they're done wanting to be out of that struggle, our hearts are here and they're willing to help and open up. So that's the main message. Love.
Yeah.
Mwah.
Love you.
I love you. You have a good night, Jane.
You too, babe.
Mwah.
Mwah.
For the hours spent.
Yes. Yes. 4 hours later.
Bye.
Bye. Let's see. How do I leave?
I'm ending it and it should automatically do it.
Okay.